Hello. That was Fly Away from Teddy Lloyd, or from Panty Stocking and Garden Belt. Panty Stocking and Garter Belt, even, if you've watched that anime. Hope we're doing well. It's Monday. I wasn't around last week. Was I around for much of the week before? Not really. Yeah, but I'm back now. I hope we're all doing good. And hold on, I need to turn up. Oh, there's the music. Well, I can hear it. Will it's very quiet. I guess I'll have to mess around with this. Anyway, I came across this game today called Mushroom Musume, which I think just translates to Mushroom Daughters. Um, it looked cute. Also, Mako, thanks for being first today. So, Steam describes it as raise a mushroom from a spore into a fine young woman, then discovers the twists and turns in life may take in this creepy, cute fairy tale life simulation game. So I just thought, yeah, that seems entertaining. I really don't know what I'm in for. I'm fairly sure it's not porn. I'm fairly sure it's not porn. We'll see. The demo comes out later this year. But yeah, here we are. I'm fairly sure there's nothing. There was nothing on the Steam page or the itch.io page to imply it is. But I still looked at the screenshots and went, we'll see. Password, that'll probably be for, like, I don't know, if you buy the early access or something. So yeah, let's get to it. Also, I finished Dawn Trail, so I feel like I can stream normally now. I don't have to think about Dawn Trail. I need to start doing the extremes and get ready for raids and potentially trying out Savage at the start of next month. But that's a later problem. But yeah, Mushroom Musume. Start. Once upon a time, there was a humble recluse. It's very quiet. Okay. I'll have to do. If you want to do Savage, you can talk with Kedders. I'm supposed to be part of a static with my VTuber artists and their friends. But my next few weeks are a bit all over the place, so like I kind of feel bad because I don't know how much I can actually like help. But we'll see. Though they had no need for society, they did often find themselves home into to a loneliness that they could never quite shake. In the morning the sun would rise and at night it would set. The recluse would observe this splendour, knowing that the sight would be made all the more beautiful by having someone to share it with. It wasn't that they desired a relationship, perhaps it was a flame that had burned them one too many times, or perhaps they were simply disinterested. No, a child. That's what they wanted. Someone to take care of, to teach. Unfortunately, it was a longing that could not be found, not in these woods alone. However, we are never quite as alone as we think, are we? One day a witch appeared, as if drawn by the intensity of the recluse's desire. The lumber that the recluse had spent the morning gathering slipped through their hands as they spotted her, the witch of the woods. She began to speak. You desire a child, yes? For some those are quite easy to come by, but not you, it would seem. Let us make a deal then. If you do 3 simple chores for me, I will present you with a daughter of your very own. The recluse, caught up in a moment of naivete, quickly agreed. The witch, knowing that the recluse was destined to accept, simply nodded and began to deliver the first of these so-called chores without hesitation. Growth struggles to be achieved without presence. Offer me that which embodies the emotion you would provide for your daughter. The recluse pondered for a moment, thinking of what they had to offer. A prized gem fragment, a stone lawn ornament, or a deteriorating book of poetry. Yeah, let's give you a gem fragment. If there was anything worth showcasing the sheer wonder the recluse would have for their daughter, it was a small, glittering fragment they had kept secret. Like a brilliant emerald, it glimmered unlike anything else the recluse had ever seen, but even they understood that beneath its surface coursed something ethereal. Returning to the witch, the recluse held out their offering. Ah, it has been some time. Surely you're serious about this, no? Feeling a tender hollowness, the recluse declined to answer. The second day. The recluse slept more soundly that night than they had in ages. Having a purpose again soothed them, even if they had found themselves caught up with a witch. They elected not to think about that, though. Instead, when the morning came, they simply did what they had to do, which is to say, they got up and went to meet with the witch. Upon watching the recluse's approach, a sardonic smile lit the witch's face. You completed your first task admirably. 2 more and I can finally give you what you want. She paused only for a moment before delivering her next message of import. Your child will come into this world with little to her name. Let us even the scales. Bring me an heirloom, something she will forever value. The recluse thought on it briefly and searched through their home for the object they had pictured. An old bottle of medicine has sat unopened. A glimmering music box. Your most used cast iron skillet. I was going to pick the music box, but I think a skillet is much funnier. Passed down from generation to generation, the skillet's seasoning had never once let an ancestor down. It wouldn't let their daughter down either. It will serve her for her entire life, and with luck she will live on to pass it to someone else too. Bringing their prize back to the witch, she simply gave a smile. How perfect. After the brief detour to meet with the witch, the recluse resumed their normal day-to-day schedule. The third day. With the 2 assignments complete, the recluse could feel their excitement grow. If this witch was being honest, and for some reason they felt that she was, then that meant this could be the last night they spent without a child. They hoped so, at least. That was all they could do. Barely remembering to get dressed, the recluse dashed to the meeting spot. Again, the witch had been waiting there for them. Welcome back, recluse. Are you prepared? Today is your big day, is it not? The last task is an easy one, or at least I believe so. Bring me something colourful, something bright that you think will suit her. When they were first told of the 3 tasks, the recluse had imagined things that were much more difficult. This seemed so easy as to be a trick, which they supposed only meant that they should take it seriously, as if a mistake could mean death. With death in mind, the recluse needed to decide where to search for colour. A field of flowers, or a stony river. Field of flowers. If someone wanted colour, where else was there to even consider? The recluse decided to make their way to a particularly idyllic field of flowers. The field was filled with an overwhelming amount of choice. Before long, the recluse narrowed the options down to a few. Bleeding hearts, sanguine and symbolic drops. Foxglove, purple bell-like blooms. What's that? A pumpkin? Black pansies, a Stygian omen. Forget-me-nots, light-hearted blue flowerets. I'm going to go with foxglove, purple bell-like blooms. Well, foxglove. These flowers had always enchanted the recluse, standing tall at the edges of the path. It was as though they were luring them, tempting them to stray from the path. Perhaps today the recluse just might. An edge of temptation can be healthy. What if it was purple? The recluse returned to the witch's hut, coloured item in hand. She silently took the object, nodding her head to the recluse in recognition. The recluse stood there for a moment unsure, before finally the witch realised what they expected. Oh ho! You want your promised daughter, don't you? Her voice was almost mocking, but at least it was not overtly cruel. I suppose I must tell you that I lied, human. I do require several more trifling things from you. First is the matter of payment. The recluse should have known that everything is for a cost. Pay me now with wealth. Pay me now with life. Pay me sometime soon in larger quantities. Pay me at a much later date in the way I choose. Pay me now with life. They told the witch they would offer life as payment. Certainly. Stepping forward, she took them in a cold yet not unkind embrace. They awoke hours later with an uneasy feeling that something was missing. The witch was still there, waiting for the recluse. With the payment settled, the witch simply smiled and handed the recluse a small pot. Humans are tricky, but mushrooms are much more resilient. Consider this an upgrade. Don't worry, eventually she will develop a mind. Simply give her time, as much as she needs. Soon your wish will be in full bloom. I suppose with all that settled, though, there's one last thing for you to consider. A young girl needs a proper name. The recluse thought on the witch's demand before offering the final thing they had to give. What is her name? Hmm. Um... Did I just go with a mushroom name, or is that too mean? What about... You know what kind of looks like a mushroom? A ladybug. Then she walked away, only fate knowing if the two should ever meet again. Chapter 2. Cultivation. Though the recluse was unsure of the specifics, they did not realise that it was important to heed her instructions. Care for the pot and the dirt and everything that lay within. So the recluse geared up, as any parent should, and assessed the things that needed to raise a child. Finances in case the nearby village had goods or services that you could not provide. Nutrients for the child to help it grow strong. They would need plenty as it would be depleted on a daily basis. And finally, the recluse's own stamina could not be ignored. One cannot burn the candle from both ends indefinitely. Thus began the longest growing season of the recluse's life. You realise that buried in your new goal, you've forgotten to feed yourself, or procure any human food really. What seems like the most nutritious option? Sneak morsels away from your charge. To the village, the market has many enticing goods. To the woods for foraging. What was this mushroom for again? Looks... I could just eat the mushroom. I could just have... I assume this is game over if I eat the mushroom. Let's spend some money. There are things that you cannot possibly find or make on your own, and sometimes you desire them. Maybe on the next run. Rarely do you indulge, but today is different. Strolling into the market, you find a booth with particularly interesting food that you've never had before. A strange soup that's thick, hearty, and incredibly spicy. You purchase more than you can eat and decide to give your child the scraps. They seem to invigorate her. The decision being made, life continued. While tapping some trees one day, you overhear a noise. It sounds like the clinking of coins and dice. Before long, you manage to track down the source, a wingless fairy sitting in the eye of a tree. A human? Oh no! Now I'll be forced to gamble, the fae cried out unconvincingly. I'm the dice fae, you see. I have no choice but to gamble with every human that passes by. You even get to pick the stakes. The rules are simple. If I roll a 5 or less, I win. But if I roll a 6 or higher, well, that means you win. Compelling, right? Gambling with a fairy? What the hell, why not? What do you want to offer? So, a coin, a bag of substrate, a finger, a daughter. It's so tempting. Let's sacrifice. Let's go for a finger. Well, if you're going to gamble with a fairy, you may as well get a keepsake out of it, one way or another. The fairy grins. In fact, you swear you can even see him lick his little lips. This unsettles you. It's been a while since anyone's given me one of those. Good luck, human. Then he casts the die. Rattle, rattle, rattle. Well, when the die lands, you feel a spike of panic that feels truer than anything you've ever known. A 1. Of course, that was what was going to happen. With a wide grin, the fairy applauds. Hooray! This is my favourite part. I've always wondered why you humans are so quick to bargain limbs, but that's no skin off my nose at least. You close your eyes and hold out your hand, hoping that the fairy takes his winnings quickly. To your pain and relief, he does. You feel brief sharp pain, then a phantom sensation that implies that your pinky is no longer yours. You curse him before retreating, clutching your hand gingerly. Huh? Something's happening. Your daughter has changed in the night. One day you awaken suddenly discovering that your mushroom has gained enough limbs to propel themselves around the house. The creature toddles on uneasy legs, bumping into objects noisily, and her cute face now shows a vacant expression. Her demeanour seems pensive and unsure, sometimes staring long at unfamiliar objects. Encourage her thoughtfulness. Spend time nurturing her environment. Motivate her to do something more productive. Encourage her thoughtfulness. Your daughter's development is going better than expected, and you want to promote her inquisitive nature. You gather a collection of unusual things from around your house for her to look at, such as nooks, antiques, and broken tools. She continues to observe the things you bring her for long hours, seemingly finding some enrichment in the activity. The decision being made, life continued. You haven't been taking very good care of yourself, and you find yourself so worn out that even leaving the house is a challenge. If you continue on without regard for your own stamina, you might very well die. Stay in bed, I need the rest. You'll sleep when you're dead, which would be very... let's rest. You'll be no use to your daughter in this state, so you decide to spend the day resting. Sitting in bed, you think about your daughter and all the tasks you'll get done tomorrow. The decision being made, life continued. One evening, you hear a light knocking at your door, quite a rare occurrence. Peeking through the window, you witness none other than the Witch of the Woods standing on the doorstep of your humble hut. Could she be here for a visit, or to settle a debt? Introduce her to your daughter. Privately request a stipend. Stipend? Let's introduce her. Perhaps it's time for your daughter to meet the witch. She could maybe even learn a thing or two. The two of you answer the door and invite the gloomy woman inside for a dry and awkward small talk. Something about the way that the two absently stare at each other. You wonder if they've made some sort of connection today. The decision being made, life continued. Something is happening. She's evolving. Aww! Your daughter has changed in the night. One morning, you notice that your daughter is nowhere to be seen. After an hour of searching the nearby area, you find her sitting alone in a familiar clearing. To your surprise, the creature had now taken the form of a young girl. You feel relieved to confirm the witch hadn't betrayed you. At your approach, she turns and smiles at you before continuing to thoughtfully stare into space. Sit with her in silence. Buy her a nice gift to celebrate. Tell her it's time to go home. Let's sit with her. You do wonder what your daughter is thinking about so intently, but decided not to disturb her. Taking a seat next to her, you appreciate the beauty of the forest and spend time thinking lovingly of your daughter. After nearly an hour, she stands up and heads back home, seemingly finished with her introspection. The decision being made, life continued. Your daughter needs food too, and you've just run out. You need to find something to feed her soon, or she'll surely starve. Spend the day gathering substances, or you can't spare the time today, she'll have to go hungry. Let's forage. You spend the day foraging and digging in the woods and return with a heap of mushroom food for your hungry daughter. It's a little hard to be sure, but it seems like she's thankful for your efforts. The decision being made, life continued. Your daughter has been getting bigger lately, and it's been easier than ever to see her as the child that she is. Today you want to teach her something fun, something that human children often get to partake in. What activity will the two of you partake in? Arm wrestling? Make a deer disappear? Quietly count to 1,000? Dress up? Hide and go seek? I think hide and go seek for... yeah. Initially you take the role of it as you explain the rules to her. Hide somewhere you won't be found and wait till the seeker finds you. The first run goes smoothly up until it's her turn to be it. As it turns out, your daughter is much trickier than you are, or at least she's able to hide much more hidden place. You end up spending half the day trying to find out where she went. Thankfully, it seems she enjoyed her time being spent hidden. In the following week, she's constantly asking to play, if only you always had the time. The game being taught, life continued. An end? Question mark. One night, you find yourself struggling to sleep. Your mind wanders as you consider your current place in life. You've lived peacefully with your daughter for many moons. Initially it was strange, well, it never stopped being strange, but you were always thankful for the company. Besides, the affection you felt for her was like any parent would feel towards their child. That was normal, at least. Your thoughts turned to the concept of time, particularly how you were once alone, and how you are afraid that you will be again someday. Your daughter has had more and more curiosities about the outside world. It's only a matter of time before she wants to strike her own path. You hope you will be fulfilled now. You hope you've done enough. Ultimately, you find comfort in what you've done. You may have had many failures in your life, but there's one thing you know you can die proud of. And that scrolling text is way too fast. I had no idea what it said. And a new beginning. Telling the recluse that you wanted to see more of the world wasn't an easy conversation. As they grew older, you worried about leaving them on their own. Thankfully, your concerns were unwarranted. They were happy that you had grown enough to want to move out. They even offered to help you build your own home, close to theirs. You were welcome to visit any time, obviously. Faster than you would have anticipated, the two of you built your own built your home together. They showed you all the tricks they knew and made sure to impact as much knowledge as they possibly could. Finally, the day arrived. You were officially on your own. You were scared a little, but always excited. It felt like a new chapter was just beginning for you. Chapter 3. A girl on her own. Huh. Is that blood? Is that blood? Family, mystic bond. You've developed some rapport with your creator, the Witch of the Woods. The recluse will always live in your heart and for the time being next door. A tiny glistening mushroom associated with the Fae. It's fine, I'm sure. Yeah, probably. A girl on her own. One day, in need of supplies, you head to the local apothecary. It's always a wonderful, cozy experience inside. You have a particular fondness for a painting hung up near the counter of a mushroom woman, much like yourself with a frog in her lap. Not to mention the vast amounts of ingredients and goodies all readily available to you. Business beats the nitty-gritty of foraging every time. Unfortunately, this time around you feel a set of eyes staring at you. You turn your neck and barely catch a glance at a strange man following you. He's wearing a look as ravenous and tattered as his wizard's hat. Run back home. Tell the man off. You're not just some component after all. You angrily turn your head and yell, I am a mushroom, you know. I'm a person. Unable to successfully form a defense, the man seems emboldened. He approaches you with a sinister grin. Squeamish and afraid, you pass out. Oh, cool. Several hours later, you wake up a few pounds lighter. Then later that week, you hear a rumour about a man that seemed to have been driven to madness by some strange mushroom. You guess some men can't handle their vices. While tending to your home, you begin to feel an otherworldly pull towards the forest. You can't resist, and moments later you find yourself surrounded by trees and standing in front of a mushroom-covered hut. Deep within you, you know the witch that made you resides here. Enter the hut cautiously and treat her as a stranger. Force yourself to turn tail and quickly head home. Enter the hut with the hope of learning some magic. You enter the hut and bow respectfully, addressing the witch as you would apprentice to ambassador. She accepts your want for knowledge and begins tutoring you. Time moves strangely in these woods and you are unsure how long you read scrolls and practice channeling. By the time you leave, though, you find you've gained a slight control over your magical potential. You leave your home in the later hours of the morning one day, only to sit upon a strange woman not too far from your front door. It's immediately apparent that she doesn't notice you. Heck, she may not even notice the house that's just right there. As it stands, the slender, bespectacled woman has her gaze locked to the sky. She'd be a statue if not for a periodic wave of the hand, setting errant strands of silver back into a messy ponytail. Watching her for a moment, you stand to reason that maybe something's wrong. Plus, she looks harmless enough. Maybe she's worth approaching. Can I help you? Play it safe and leave her alone. The woman whirls around, caught off guard by your sudden appearance. Oh, I'm sorry, she stammers before catching a good look at you. Oh. My, you're an interesting creature, aren't you? Her inquisition borders heavily on the familiar, but you let it slide. Are you by chance the slippy, slimy of these woods? I've heard so much about you. It's such a shame. I'm pursuing other interests right now. I would love so much to study you. Sorry, is that weird? That's weird, right? The woman pushes back a series of stray hairs, smiling sweetly through the thin lips and eyes that glitter like velvet gems. It's almost enthralling.
Happy DAWNTRAILS, have an earful of corn.
Happy Dawn Trails, have some corn. I don't know why it's spelled out Dawn Trail, but whatever. Hope you're well, Ergo. And thank you for the 32 months, my goodness. It's almost enthralling. Ah, right then. I should introduce myself. My name's Kalia, or Celia. I am, I suppose what you'd call a scholar of sorts. I study all sorts of creatures, both mythical and speculative, ranging from all sorts of quasi-humanoid beings to amorphous energies. My primary field of study is the realm of the Fae, tricky little fiends, friends, I tell you what. Lately, I'm not really sure what's happening. I thought it was going to be maybe a Tamagotchi game, but it seems to be something like that. It reminds me a wee bit of, I forget its name, but there was a princess game you could play, and you basically ran the government and royalty, but you spent your days tutoring or learning how to do things. And yeah, I'm a little mushroom lady now. I called her Ladybug, and she's a common purple pixie's parasol. Your body is made of something slick and magical. You can feel it in your core. So I'm slimy. Okay, so that's not blood. Incompetent. You are unfortunately just not very good at much of anything. Same. Witchling, you are touched by magic in some sort of significant way. Oh, these... Okay. Dampness, increased by a good soak or by a melancholic moment. This stat indicates how wet and slimy her body is, but also a murkiness of the soul. Mycelium, increased by the right nutrients or by the things that nourish the soul. This stat is associated with how generally healthy she is, and yet it could also be a persistent optimism. Robustness, increased by the ideal growing conditions or by a loving presence. This stat is associated with her physical strength, but could also be a strength of her character. Potency, increased by a titillating meal or by titillating danger. This stat is tied to the strength of her mushroom type, or her ability to perform in stressful situations. Humanity, increased by thorough socializing or by doing the right thing. This stat is how good of a person she is, literally and metaphorically. Cards. I have a nope card. Don't like an event? Use one of these cards and you can be on your way back and home in no time. Cards represent the choices you have to make in life. Though you won't be able to use special cards in every event, they will automatically be dealt to you in appropriate situations. Be careful, most card types are limited. When they're out, unless you can find a way to gain more. Spell card. You can feel the magic flowing through your body, though it is powerful, it is not unlimited. Wealth. Everything in this world comes for a price. Use these to purchase goods or otherwise improve your circumstances. Spore. Empowers spells or poisons the spores that cost you your own potency. This is not... I have no idea what this game is. You have grown into a young woman unexpectedly. Reputation, relative obscurity. People don't think much about you. You are touched by magic in some significant way. Lately, I've been trying to uncover traces of this cheeky bugger, a fey prince by the name of Cupid. I don't suppose you've seen a foul-mouthed baby flying around shooting at people, have you? Is that a riddle? What do you think the answer to that is? Is that a riddle? Celia put a finger to her chin. I do suppose it sounds odd. Still, there's that little gremlin around here somewhere. My sources have provided me with the good intel, I assure you. Okay, but why bother studying him if you can't find him? I guess I can let you know if I see something. Oh, that would be wonderful. There definitely seems to be a lost cause looking for him here, though. Tell you what, Celia hands you a handbill made of lightly glowing bone. Take this and ring it if you find him. Of course, if you find anything else of interest, I'd be thrilled to be notified. Holding the handbill, you give it a light jiggle. To your surprise, it rings out spectacularly. And you know, Celia leans in close, if ever you'd like a little studying of your own, well... Celia's face begins to turn red as she looks away, hand on cheek and stifling a giggle. Nothing, don't be a stranger now. Was that a flirtatious smile? With a grin, she saunters away. You're left feeling a myriad of emotions, though a single question remains. You're not going to, get shot by a baby just walking about, right? You feel a crisp breeze, the heat is relenting and trees are changing in colour. Fall has arrived. A group of 3 armed men stop you while you're out, demanding away any goods you may have, or else. The fresh blood on their weapons show they are not idle threats. Prepare yourself and attempt to fight them off. Use magic to scare them away. Make a run for it. Let's use magic. I keep failing. You manage only a small flame and it does little to frighten the bandits. They end up roughing you up a bit and taking what little you have with you before fleeing. You are woken in the middle of the night by a loud crash from your kitchen. You scramble to investigate and finally catch the source of the racket. A man hunched over in pain in the middle of your cooking nook. He spots you and seems to panic, waving his hands around. Wait, it's not what it looks like. Well, it's exactly what it looks like, but I injured myself, so I'm no longer pursuing that plan. Why don't you bless a poor fool and choose to excuse my rudeness? An injured thief is still a thief, kick him out. Kick him out. No one will break into your house and tell you to forgive them.
Good job. Funky adventuring much, eh? K-Tapev.
Radiant, thank you for the 12 months at tier 2. Thank you. Yeah, we're playing Mushroom Musume. I really didn't know what I was in for, but I'm actually quite enjoying the vibes, so... Yeah, mushroom dance, whatever could it mean? You roughly grab the man by the scruff of his collar, then proceed to take out the trash. The sun is low in the sky, casting a beautiful warm tint across everything that you saw. Today is a particularly beautiful sight, blossoming fruit trees and the wind blowing through grass. Your eyes feel heavy and suddenly you find yourself falling into a deep sleep. In your dreams, you're sitting on a tree branch. There's a flute playing somewhere. Then suddenly the flute is next to you. Attached to it is this vague shape of a woman. I haven't seen you here before. Welcome. Whenever you go to look at her, it feels like she shifts. You can't quite describe her. You probably won't remember me when you wake up, but it's nice to meet you. After sitting in silence for a second, she starts playing again. Fly? Where do you go when I'm awake? Try to memorize this place. Sing along. Try to memorize. You try your best to focus. It's hard to take in the details, but you attempt to commit them to memory. You figure that if you remember it well, maybe you could come back. Seems like a lovely enough place to visit from time to time. By the time you awake, you can remember it vividly, even the strange woman next to you. That's a memory for another time, though. It's dark and you should be getting home. A chilling breeze greets you one morning, heralding the approach of winter. The end of the year approaches and you find yourself considering your aspirations. You want to accomplish something significant, you decide, something you'll remember. Take on a dangerous quest, attend a charming evening at the gala, pursue a great aspiration. Let's go to the gala. Recently you've garnered enough attention in the area to be invited to a high-class event. This could be an opportunity to celebrate the year or invite someone you wish to grow closer with. Attend it alone, invite the girl of your dreams, invite the person who raised you. Actually, don't go. Invite the girl of her dreams. You consider a strange dream you once had, a woman was there, you think. For some reason you set your mind on finding her. There's no one else you'd rather attend with anyways. The gala isn't until the end of the year, you'll have plenty of time to prepare yourself. While taking a stroll down the centre of town, you catch the eye of a curious group of children. One of them lifts a finger to point at you and shouts, "Look, a big mushy." That's pretty rude, by all means. What do you want to do about this? How rude. Point and shout right back at them. Ignore the children and just keep walking. Go over and see if they would like to play. Let's just ignore them. You would much rather spend your day enjoying your stroll than dealing with tiny humans. So you do just that and continue on your way. On one particularly desolate evening, you decide to take a walk around the outskirts of town. You find yourself overcome with an unaccountably uneasy feeling as you pass by an abandoned neighbourhood, the dying amber light casting menacing shadows. As you enter a dilapidated gatehouse, protruding bits of ruin and decaying wood conspire in your periphery, forming unnerving figures. Something skulks among them. Finally, you spot the thing. Your body tenses with alarm as you distinguish a smoothing grey-brown object in a half-formed approximation of a human shape. A statue of a woman, propelled by unknown means, shambles forward and looks its gaze at you. A set of glowing purple features overlaying the stony mask of its face, hovering lines forming a mouth and eyes. You don't know why, but looking at the creature fills you with dismay and revulsion. The glowing image of a mouth cycles through different shapes, as an unpleasant whirring emanates from her head. She emits a strange buzzing voice. "Is this one a daughter of the witch?" You nod stifly, bewildered. "This one is a preferred subject. I will commence a necessary experiment to determine if this form is fit for consummation." This thing means you great harm. You feel it in your core. Turn tailwind for the woods. Attack the creature. Tell her you're not a daughter of the witch. Subdue her with magic. I mean, we can't fail a fourth time, right? Success! Nope, that's a failure. Cool. Mustering your magical energy, you buffet the stone woman with a forceful winds, causing her to stumble as she approaches, but only barely. "Yes, this one will do nicely," she hums, approaching you with a renewed and indomitable force. Your most concentrated efforts to do little to slow her as she approaches, grabbing your shoulder painfully and dragging you close to her. "Here now, listen to this magical spell of my own." Her facial features glow with a sickening light as she brings them closer to your own, her unnatural voice growing quieter. Then, in a trembling whisper, she tells you something. She says, you allowing fall to your knees, and adrift black stops entirety. I want to see what that was. Withering. Your body shrivels and decays over the time, falling apart. Not cool. Did I get anything else? Got a bell. Maybe I should have run that. My yearly goal. You want a date with the girl of your dreams. You awake in the dead of night with a little memory of the encounter. You do, however, bear a painful reminder. The creature has cursed you. Despite your life lived thus far, the accomplishments, the humiliations, the laughs and cries, you find yourself wilting away. Perhaps it's illness, you think, and for a time you feel better. But no, it's not just a simple illness. From your bounty of mycelium to your mushy soul, there is a dreadful malaise. It's unshakable, unsurmountable. Before long, it's dragging you down, deep, deep into the mire of self-destruction. After that day, the mushy girl was never seen again. All anybody saw was her making her solemn trek back into the woodland house. And once the door closed, she never emerged, having become but the hollow shell of a once bright young lady. Ending hollow. Cool! You have irreparably lost your optimism. I guess I died. Congratulations on finding your first run. You've just discovered one of over 30 endings available in the demo version of the game. We encourage you to experiment a little while growing your next daughter to see just how different it can turn out. Be sure to check out your almanac if you want to track your progress. Mushipedia. How do I turn the page? Hello? Average dampness 49. Okay, this is not helping. Be sure to check the almanac. We've got plenty in this demo to keep you busy farming for a while, but I thought I'd also tell you a bit about what awaits players. We're excited to be working on a new system for mini-games for you to play between sessions. Each grown daughter earns you spores, which can then be used to purchase mushroomy gardening supplies. What you grow in your garden can help shape future daughters, allowing players a little more control over the outcome, even eventually allowing you to jump right into the third act. Not in a gardening mood? Then your hard-earned spores can instead be gambled away in exchange for rare goodies. How mysterious. Don't want you to know. I love gacha. I love gacha games. We're also hard at work writing. The full game will have double the word count and double the amount of story content, including an expanded overarching plot. Delve into a dungeon, find a town bustling with fungal life, or maybe even destroy the Witch of the Woods for good, if you want. Not to mention never seen before mushroom girls, a cavalcade of new music, even some unique collectibles that are something else entirely. We're aiming to release full game in winter, wishlist us to keep up. P.S. Since we're going to be buffing the core gameplay, players won't be able to transfer their progress. You'll get a little bonus in exchange at least. Just thought you'd like to know. Okay, let's... Did I hear the ancient hymn spoken word of gacha? Yeah, apparently there's going to be gacha. Right, new mushroom. Okay. Right. So, let's give our daughter... What was the text? Growth struggles to be achieved without presence. Offer me that which embodies the emotion. What emotion? An unsettling, misshapen sack? A silver hat-backed hand mirror? I like the idea of a mirror. While it could fetch a decent coin at the village, there was nothing else the recluse felt could express the love that they'd show for their daughter. Because the truest beauty is not what's outside, but what comes from within. Returning to the witch, the recluse held out their offering. I suppose all growth comes at a cost, no? Feeling a tender hollowness, the recluse declined to answer. They went to meet the witch. Smile. Bring me an heirloom, something she will forever value. A dark weathered tome, your most used skillet, an old bottle of medicine that has sat unopened. To be honest, the recluse didn't even really know what the medicine had been designed for initially, but it contained things with strange names and held within it so much potential. Perhaps it could cure something that ails her someday, something immaterial and hard to name. Bringing their prize back to the witch, she simply gave a smile. How perfect. After their brief detour, their day Today's your big day. Bring me something colourful. That would suit her. So field of flowers. Let's go to the Stony River this time. Though underwater wasn't the first place most people thought of for colour, the recluse understood that there were many shades that people failed to consider. He arrived at a nearby river, glancing into the glassy water to spy a variety of small shining stones. Jasper, nature's deep brown canvas, a strange, almost bloody stone, slate, a simple yet sturdy grey stone, obsidian, dark glassy, ghosts of ancient fires, brimstone, a yellow alchemical wonder. Let's go for a bloody stone. It was small, but the recluse grabbed a peculiar stone with a sharp calcified edges and the appearance of blood in its pockets. Intrigued, they brought it back to the witch, who, after inspecting it, looked disgusted and insisted the recluse wash their hands. As they did so, the witch continued to shout something about kidneys, but the recluse didn't really catch what she said. Discovered! Blood! Yippee! The recluse returned to the witch's hut, coloured item in hand. She silently took the object, nodding her head into the recluse in recognition. The recluse stood there for a moment, unsure, before finally the witch realised what they expected. You want your promised daughter, don't you? Right, matter of payment. Pay me now with wealth, with life. Pay me at a much later date. Pay me sometime soon in larger quantities. Let's go for... Oh. No, I want... Okay, I guess I'm paying with my life again. She will develop... She needs a name. Okay, so the last one was Ladybug. Let's call this one... Just looking around my room. Something bloody. Chi? I'm fairly sure... Blood, and fairly sure blood is chi. Yep, in Japanese. Blood lily. Oh, I like that more. Blood for the blood lily. Then she walked away. Only fate knew if the two should ever meet again. Cultivation. This would need plenty as it would be depleted on a basis. While tapping some trees one day, you overhear a noise. It sounds like the clinking of coins and dice. Before long... Oh, it's the fairy again. Okay. Right, let's gamble... Do we gamble the daughter? YOLO. Blood for the blood lily. The words leave your mouth before you really had the chance to think about it. It shocks you to realise this, with a flash of guilt quickly stinging you. There are some things a person just never gets over. You know fairies are tricky, but you would be a bad parent to let a chance like this pass you by without even trying. The fairy grins, rolling a 10-sided die in his hand. Very good, very good. I do love high stakes. Then he casts the die. Yippee! You eye the die with a certain skepticism as you see that it has landed on a 10. That couldn't possibly be right, after all. That would mean that you had won. The fairy laughs anyways. Oh my goodness, I'm so happy for you, human. This is going to be such a big moment for you. His saccharine tone is strange. You don't like it. I'll just have to get you your prize then. It'll take a while. Magic is temperamental, you know. But you can expect to get your luxury top-of-the-line daughter no later than summer. Goodbye, human. Enjoy your prize. You walk off, unsure how to feel. I got a new trait. Perhaps this was all a dream. Maybe it's the best you get home. A pot of soiled Fey one. You have won a bet with a fairy, and are expecting your daughter to return any season now. A flock of hungry birds have been harassing both your crops and your daughter recently. In fact, they've become quite the nuisance. Purchase some poison and forcibly evict the foul skyrass. Fetch your bow and hunt the birds. Ignore the birds. I fear that if we poison... we're going to poison other things. But I also don't like my odds of shooting birds. So let's poison them. After a quick trip to the market, you scattered poisoned feed, watching with the coming weeks as the birds grow weak. Slowly they perish, one by one, like ebon angels rebuked from on high. You delight in the graduating silence, the bliss that comes without their hideous squawking. The consequence of their actions brings to a smirk to your face each time one drops, and you're diligent in reassuring your daughter just how much they deserved it. But plus, it's a proper lesson for her on how to deal with vermin. Nothing more could be done to the birds. The matter was laid to rest. Dun 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 dun. Bum 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 bum. The door has changed. One morning you awaken with a weight on your chest and open your eyes to a heavy mushroom sitting atop you. The creature has grown little arms and legs and demonstrates her newfound mobility by clambering off the bed as you wake. Her demeanour seems cheerful, wandering about in an excitable and inquisitive mood. Encourage her optimism, spend time nurturing her environment, motivate her to be more practical. Encourage her optimism. Your daughter's developing is going better than expected, and you want to promote her cheerful nature. You encourage her to appreciate beautiful things, bring her to that flower-filled glade you once visited. Enthralled by the wondrous sights, appreciating nature quickly becomes her favourite pastime, and she spends much of her time wandering outside. The decision being made, life continued. One evening you hear a light knocking at your door, quite a rare occurrence. Peeking through the window you witness none other than the Witch of the Woods. Introducer privately requests a stipend. Let's introduce her. The two of them make small talk, something about the way the two absolutely stare at each other. It's like they've made some connection. Decision being made, life continued. Today you've made the time to enrich your daughter. Now that she's capable of movement, you figure you take advantage of the pleasant weather. But the area you live in is large. Where would you like to go? Field of flowers, a diseased stretch of woods, your tree tapping route, the village cemetery, the witch's hut. Let's do... Oh, I guess we're doing Field of Flowers. I need to tap further away from the card. There's a beautiful field near you filled with flowers of every variety. Any living thing with eyes would surely take joy in seeing it. When you arrive, your daughter seems stunned at the colours before. After the shock fades, she begins running in desperate circles through the field. It's as though she simply can't make up her mind about where she'd like to be. At the end of the day, her mouth is stuffed with flowers that she wants to take home with her. Though you're unsure of her plans for them, you're glad she had fun. Her quality of life is having been improved. Life continues. Alright, what are you going to evolve into? It's a mushroom girl! Blood mushroom. She's not done growing, not yet. Okay. Child? Despite a rocky introduction, your daughter is as civil as any human child now. Mystic bond, you have developed some rapport with the Witch of the Woods. One morning you notice your daughter is nowhere to be seen. After an hour you find her walking in a nearby meadow. To your surprise, the creature has now taken the form of a young girl. You feel relieved to confirm that the witch hadn't betrayed you. As you approach, she turns and grins at you excitedly before continuing to appreciate her surroundings. Sit and watch her play. Buy her a nice gift to celebrate. Tell her it's time to go. Let's give her a gift. Today feels like a momentous achievement, so you tell your daughter you're going to the village to buy her a present. She jumps up and down excitedly, and the two of you head back to prepare for a trip into town. Your daughter thoroughly enjoys the outing and lovingly clutches the stuffed toy she picked out at the market. The decision being made, life continued. One can only juggle all their different debts for so long. Today is the day when all your balls came crashing down. Between keeping the girl fed and your own affairs, things had started to slip away from you. You realised you had no choice but to spend the day trying your best to settle some of your problems. Well, I literally have one card. Well, if I have no choice. You worked diligently, taking care of all things that needed to be taken care of. With all your conflicting affairs a little more organised, life continued. Underdeveloped and simple. Hey. You've seen mushrooms before that have a certain special gleam. Your daughter does not yet have this gleam, but she could if you raise her right. Harsh weather has taken its toll on the garden. Your entire harvest has been lost. Weeks' worth of food and labour has been rotted and destroyed. Without immediate action, you and your daughter will be in trouble later down the line. Till the garden again and start over from seeds. Accept the loss for now. You can make do. Make your daughter tend to the plants. Times are tough. Offer your daughter some old food. Maybe she'll like it. Accept the loss for now. Start over. No use crying over ruined crops. You simply make adjustments to your garden. There'll be less variety this season, but you'll live to see it. That's what matters. The decision being made. Life continued. A reunion. One night you find yourself unable to sleep. Your thoughts are consumed by something foolish, the thoughts of Faye. In particular, you contemplate your encounter with the one who called himself the Gambling Fairy, the bet that you seem to have won. He told you your daughter would be returned to you by the end of summer, and temperatures had been dropping lately. As though nature was toying with you, this lonesome daydreaming was interrupted suddenly by a cold gust of wind. However, you had left no door or window open. You jump out of bed to investigate, expecting that perhaps the girl was up to something. That wasn't unlike her after all. You find the front door open and you step into the night to investigate. From the edge of your vision you see something approaching. You can hear a shrill Faye voice in the back of your head. Here she is, recluse. Have fun. What steps towards you from out the shadow renders your brain useless. Like a pair of bonded sisters, you see your daughters before you, the younger girl clinging to her lost sibling as though they were one. They give you a smile, but you can give nothing in return. Yeah, that scrolling text is not helpful. Oh, what did that message say? Oh, you can read them here. Gain trait, found siblings, domineering, monstrous. Uh-oh. It's dark, you awake after a long night, unusually fulfilling rest. You're unsure of how you got there, but you know that you want out, so you begin to dig. After escaping what appears to be a small wooden box and pulling yourself up through the dirt, you find that you're in an area you recognise near the edge of the woods. You blink feebly, getting used to experiencing the world through a new set of senses. The recluse is surely worried about you, so after a few moments you hurry home. Something is different about how the recluse treats you when you return. They hold you tightly in a warm embrace, but sudden talks about you leaving home make you wonder if you've upset them somehow. But faster than you could have ever anticipated, the two of you build your home together. The recluse shows you all the tricks they know and makes sure to impart as much knowledge as they possibly can. Finally, the day arrives and you're officially on your own. You're scared a little, but also excited. Feels like a new chapter is just beginning for you. A parasitic fungus that infects the body and mind of a host. A common blood cordyceps. It's The Last of Us. Found siblings. You are bonded with a human body. Oh, shit. Oh, have we, like... Oh, no. You have never been healthier. Nothing will ever be able to change that. To make those rainbows in my... You are feared by humans for your appearance or your actions. You have grown into a young woman unexpectedly. You have developed some rapport with your creator, which the woods. The recluse will always live in your heart and for the time being next door. So, that wooden box was somebody's coffin, right? Right? A girl on her own. Walking around the village one day, you overhear a gaggle of fun-sized humans giggling their time away. You gradually sneak up on them and get close. Remarkably close. They don't really seem to care that you're there. Hey wait, are they ignoring you on purpose? The nerve of some fleshies. At least you can listen in to whatever seems to be engrossing. How much, one of the children exclaims, her jaw dropped in sheer awe of another kid, whose chest is proudly puffed out. With a grin, the child reiterates, enough to buy 3 bags of candy. No fair, another child cries out. When I lost mine, all she brought me was enough for a hoop and stick. Other kids looked at the child with pity. Hoop and stick was so last season. Well, anyway, the boastful kid continues, I have another one loose, so I can expect even more candy here soon. That's not fair, I want to lose a tooth. You're younger than me, what gives? It's probably because of all that candy, one of the kids said, getting met with only a shrug from the proud child as he snacked on the streets. Whatever, I'm going to go home and pull my tooth out myself, and when you see me next I'll have 4 bags of candy. The girl stormed off, determined to come into coin of her own. Which is odd when you think about it. Do these kids get money for their teeth, or did they sell their other parts? You wonder briefly about the value of a kidney when you hear one of the gremlins shout, "Be sure to put it under your pillow." Aha, you realise, there's a caveat. One must need a tooth, and then store it under their pillow, and then... money? Last you checked, what you'd consider your teeth grow back after some time. This could prove to be a lucrative venture. At length you arrive home and find yourself less certain about this than you were in the village. It's not like the fun-sized humans are known for their honesty. You pause a moment and think. One tooth won't kill you. Go for it. Not wanting to put any more time into attempting to convince yourself otherwise, you reach into your mouth and grab hold of what passes in your body as a tooth. Slowly, steadily, pressure builds as you pull, and then... Schnup! A tooth broke off easily, like a bar of chocolate. But oh my psyllium, so much worse. Regardless, you are now in the possession of a detached tooth and are eager to see what comes with resting it under your pillow. You snap awake in the middle of the night, your first thought being of what lays beneath your pillow. But when you check, you find nothing, not even your tooth remains. So you's awake then, eh? A small voice chimes from the centre of your room. Glancing over, you spot an ill-tempered fairy and their few companions. See, here's the thing. Yous put a tooth under the pillow, all fine and fair, till that tooth turns and ain't to be a tooth. Sorry, let me get that again. See, here's the thing. Yous put a tooth under the pillow, all fine and fair, till that tooth turns out ain't to be a tooth. The group of Fae all stare you down. You suspect it's for the best to remain still and listen to the big polka up front. Now, I'm a reasonable guy. I clock in, I clock out, and I don't want no trouble no how. But the issue here, said the boss lady, ain't too keen on these types of shenanigans. Now, I can see you're just an innocent mush lady, and this ordeal can be overlooked this time. Unfortunately, we ain't able to give it back to Tooth for years. Company practice, capiche? That's okay. I mean, that's what the Fae do sound like. La 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 la. Keep it. Pretty sure that one was rotten anyway. I mean, important lesson, folks. Don't fuck with the Fae. So I'm just gonna say I'm not gonna fuck with the Fae. Well, yes, that's how the teeth work. At least once. You got yours baby teeth, and then you add of teeth. No, they just grow back. What? The fairy appears incredulous, and his companions volley fascinated whispers between themselves. You saying you got a I feel like Julie Wheeler. You saying you got a replenishable supply? You shrug. Essentially, you do. It's not particularly pleasant to lose teeth, but it's technically doable. The fairies all pause for a moment, the gears noticeably turning in their minds. Hey, so, sorry for any unpleasantries earlier. I feel like I'm also turning into John Travolta. Sorry for any unpleasantries earlier, boss lady just really wanted the message clear, you know? But, she did also have the fairy glanced at its companions, with each in turn offering blank stares. Right, she's got a particular taste, it would seem. What did he just say? You know, shaved over some food, it's like a nice mushroom powder. And you know, if you got a seemingly infinite supply, The fairy begins fidgeting on his person, and his companions all seem suddenly much more intrigued by your abilities. Here, take this. The fairy pulls an adorably small business card from his pocket, handing it over. You look it over. Nope. You look it over. There are words on the front and on the back, it seems. Is that a number? You're pretty sure that's a number. Though if it is, it's really long. Wow. The fairy in charge catches your confusion, and upon realising the situation, procures a different card. This one simply is a crude picture of someone kicking multiple mushrooms in a circle. Give us a ring sometime, yeah? The main fairy says. Looking back at the artwork, you can't help but feel like it's a hate crime. But upon looking back up, you realise the fairies have vanished without a trace. Only the lingering smell of bad aftershave and latent face stink remains. Unsatisfied with the lack of reward under your pillow, and annoyed by the usual fairy shenanigans, you attempt to go back to sleep. Maybe you'll check out the Tooth Fairy's deal someday. Until then, however, it's the middle of the night, and sleep beckons.
What if instead of mushroom it was freak shroom?
Ban this man. What if? Business card, small business card for the Tooth Fairy Syndicate. While tending to your home, you begin to feel an otherworldly pull towards the forest. You can't resist, and moments later find yourself surrounded by trees and standing in front of a mushroom-covered hut. Enter the hut with the hope of learning magic. Enter the hut and cautiously treat her as a stranger. Force yourself to turn and run. So I did the magic route last time. Let's do something different. Let's treat her as a stranger. You enter, acting respectful but not overly familiar, and find the witch waiting for you. She treats you like a patient, or maybe like some project. She asks questions about your health and your impact on the locals. After she's done, she sends you on your way. You leave your... Also, thank you for the 18 months, and thank you for the Twitch Prime. You only get one of those a month. And if you, anyone out there, if you've got Amazon Prime, you also have Twitch Prime, which is a free subscription to any streamer you like per month. Please consider using it. You leave your home in the later hours of the morning one day and only to set up on a strange woman not too far from your front door. Okay, so it's the same girl as last time. Play it safe and leave her alone. Let's talk to her again. What do you think the answer to that is? Celia looks around, evidently getting your point. That's fair, that's fair. Despite what I was told, he doesn't seem to be anywhere in this area. Tell you what, give me a ring. There's the ring, the bell. Same text as before. Ball's arrived. There's a knock at your door. When you answer it, you see a woman dressed in somewhat tacky dress. Oh, hi, I'm from the nearby town and I came here on behalf of all the local mothers. This introduction leaves you feeling a little uneasy. As she continues speaking, you sense that she's clearly feeling the emotion of fear. We were hoping that we could convince you to come out and show off a little for the kids, show them the real you. Is that something you'd be interested in? We could provide lunch, obviously. After some nervous chat, the woman writes down a location on a small piece of paper and thrusts it in your hand. Afterwards, she all but runs away. You consider the strange woman and her strange invitation. Let's see what happens. Weirdly, some part of you feels compelled to attend. Perhaps some small obligation to help children. Or maybe just the thought that if you introduced yourself to a lot of them at once, they wouldn't trouble you if they saw you in the woods later. Quickly, the day of the event arrives. You gussy yourself up, or at least as much as possible for a girl like you, and make the calm walk to the village schoolhouse. As you enter, it takes you a second to really take in the scene. There's nearly a dozen children of various sizes and ages, a few older humans standing around the edges of the room, and a table with some very rudimentary foods on it. You correctly identify this as the provided lunch. As you go to take a piece of bread, one of the adults grab your shoulder. Oh, thank goodness you showed up. I wasn't sure if you would. Why don't you go on ahead and stand up front? Doesn't that sound good? Well, you would have preferred some lunch first, you agreed to the plan. You stand in front of the room, in front of a dark board with white scribblings on it. The children turn silent, all staring at you wide-eyed. Finally, a number hand shoot up. One of the parents interprets. They raise their hand if they have something they'd like to ask you. What a polite system. You look over the crowd, deciding who to pick. You point at a random child, bald with too large of a grin. He speaks fast, but you decipher the question. How old are you? I was born in spring. Ageless. I was born in spring. Speaking to you gasps. I'm older than you? The realization set the classroom on fire. Metaphorically speaking, of course. How come she doesn't have to go to school? Another child cries, clearly angry at the reality that she didn't have to be here. The adults were quick to respond, trying to calm the now angry mob. I don't think you'll be able to get them to quiet back down. Maybe you should just go home now. Besides, you've done enough, one of the adults tell you. You get the impression you've done something wrong, but you don't quite understand what. Oh well, you just did what was requested of you, I suppose. You head home, contemplating how strange humans are, but particularly the big ones. The night sky is clear and beautiful as you sit on a stump atop a small hill looking up. Something catches your eye. You notice a streak of shooting star. Quick, make a wish. Wish for the people of the kingdom to live peaceful lives. Wish to go stronger. Wish to be blessed with delicious food. Wish for it to rain tomorrow. Wish to stay in good health. Wish for the star itself. I failed on a 9? Jesus. You eagerly wait to see if the outrageous wish was granted. As the tail of the shooting star fades away, you suddenly feel something land on your head. Is it the star? No, bird poop. Maybe you'll have better luck next time. Having taken a leisurely stroll one day, you set upon a humble shack nestled among dense bushes across the nearby river. and from the hovel bounds a symphony of music reverberating off the trees. With curiosity grabbing hold, you saunter off the beaten path, making your way to the water's edge. To your surprise, a ramshackle bridge extends across the water, and before you know it, you're face to face with the shack's rotting door. Knock on the door. You rap your knuckles on the door. After a moment, a slight shuffling can be heard from inside. At length, the door opens, and you are greeted by the bewildered expression of a rather strange-looking crone. The figure is tall and looming, hunched over, with a head still a solid foot above your own. A hood veils their eyes, where it would expose their skin. Their travels only matted whiskers long since greyed. You notice their skin as the crone raises a hand in greeting, gnarled and dark like the knot of a tree. And as they speak, hoarsely churning at a polite hello, you catch the subtle torrent of voices intermingled from within, an amalgam of souls. It's been a long time since a visitor graced my doorstep. Would you like to come inside? Surely you've been drawn by the music, no? You can't say no. You really are captivated by the music. Without delay, you take the crone up on their offer and enter their home. They seem nice enough, and you get the feeling that all the apprehension built up before has melted away. Plus, the interior smells like fresh jasmine. What better way to distress? The crone shows you the source of the music, a strange box at the far end of the room. As they're showing off the piece, the music stops and the crone hits a small switch, shutting down the mechanism. This here is a phonograph, used for playing music of these cylinders. The crone fiddles with the machine, taking off a black wax cylinder. This one is a part of a suite, the finale. The crone hangs their head low. Unfortunately, the rest of the suite is lost to me. They pause for a moment, looks you up and down and says, but you have a draw to the music, eh? It's hard to tell, but you believe a smile to have cracked somewhere beyond the massive whiskers. If that's the case, you seem able enough. I'll tell you what. If you're able to collect the other 6 parts of the suite, I'll give you the finale as a gift. One cannot enjoy a suite without a full collection. You shrug. The offer seems straightforward enough. Without reluctance, you accept, much to the crone's satisfaction. Then I would ask to read you a story, one that might help glean the location of another cylinder. Would you be interested? It is, however, quite a long story, should you wish to do other things. Listen to the story. Just trying to see if there's anything different. So can I just use this whenever? No. Maybe? Ah, yes, the crone stoops in place across from you, resting on what you assume to be their haunches. As they open the book, you feel enraptured, engrossed, enthralled. Before you know it, the words blend into a dappling of a synesthesia that seemingly spurts you away to the land of the story. As with many, this tale began in tragedy. An errant child, the kid was exiled from town, branded with heresy and derision. She bore no sin but that of her birth, specifically the eyes, smouldering pools of ceaseless violet. They were the same eyes as the Violet Witch, a malefactor who had been terrorizing the area for years, and as such the kid was cast from her meagre home at a young age, branded as a cursed child. She would not know peace for some time, not until her body became frail, her throat burning, her stomach gnawing. It was a reclusive figure who at length offered her shelter, one who lived deep in the western woods. It was the first time the kid could know peace, but peace was ill-becoming of the time and ever fleeting. Despite the love and care bestowed upon her by her guardian, she could not stay. Fire came in the night. At first it was deemed an accident, happenstance, but the attacks became emboldened, frequent. As long as the Violet Witch roamed the land, the kid would know no sanctuary. She could only bring pain to those who would offer her comfort. And so after a heated argument with her guardian, she forced herself to leave, lest to be caught up in the madness. The kid set off without preparation, carrying with her only a smoulder of conviction. Nevertheless, she was savvy, complete with a few well-honed skills needed for survival. It wasn't long before she was well away from home, out beyond the threshold, where the familiar woods fell away to shadowy hinterlands. Though according to rumours of the Violet Witch, her manse would be less than a day's travel, southwest. And as it were, there were 3 ways to go about heading there. The Galdries highway, which the kid had been taking, dilapidated as it was, the old-growth forest as welcoming as it seemed, or the gentle riverbank. Let's continue on the highway. The highway had long fallen into disrepair, and it was a miracle to have found anybody in that day and age that could remember the lost kingdom that was once ran through the land. Nevertheless, the ancient highway was still the best means of traversing the hinterlands, barring the occasional fallen tree or reaching past the brambles. Before long, the kid had made it to their destination along the highway and cut through dense brush to arrive at the manse. But before they stepped off the road, a particularly sturdy stick caught their attention, long, straight, and hardy. It made for an excellent walking stick, if not a club. I got a stick! A forgotten branch from a wizened tree. The end curls around itself as if to cup something. With just a few more steps, the highway was behind her and the kid could enter the manse. Though she thought for a moment there was still enough twilight to search around nearby. Of course, it may not be worth it. Search the river. Search the river. Doubling back for a bit, the kid decided to check out the river. It was a pleasant walk, traversing in the bank. They even found a small piece of jewellery in the silt. A talisman depicting a ring of 3 fairies. One holds a candlestick, another plays from a fife, and the third peers with gilded eyes. Further inspection, however, appeared to be a talisman made in the likeness of a circle of fairies. Pleased with their find, the kid returned to the manse and found its front door to be unlocked. Feeling her stomach sink, the kid steeled her nerves and pushed onward. The Violet Witch's manse was regal though dishevelled. It didn't appear as though anyone had been home for some time, even if there was a distinct lack of dust on the surfaces. Very little furniture decorated the vaulted foyer. Exits on either side led to the library and dining hall, while spiralling staircase led into darkness overhead. Examine. The welcome sign, the potted plant, grandfather clock, chandelier. Suspicious corner. The portrait of the lady of the house hung menacingly in the corner of the room. Taller and wider than a full-grown adult, her eyes pierced into the kid's soul. Examine. Let's examine it. Oh, welcome sign. A flat board made of cork salt sat on the wall, with the little ceramic letters backed by pins pushed into the facade. It reads, Live, Laugh, Spellcraft. Rearrange the letters. With a little creative tinkering, the kid changed the sign to read, Ugh, all lifesteal. The chandelier. An intricate crystal chandelier hung down from overhead. Its tether disappeared into the darkness of the vaulted ceiling, but its light shone down in the flood. Channeled the talisman to cut the tether. Damn. Yeah, fuck it. The kid held up the talisman and felt their spirits swell. Before them appeared a small fairy who flitted up to the chandelier's tether and cut it loose. The resulting crash was deafening, but at least the kid avoided getting cut up by shrapnel. They just had to be careful walking around the floor. Let's go to the dining hall. The dining hall was modest and cozy, though elaborate enough to default as a place of sophisticated living. Tall windows lined the wall, looking out into an inky night, offering views... Oh. Pee-pee, poo-poo, little tiger, I love you. Well, it rhymes, so I'll let you have this one, Pie. And thank you for the 3 stream streak. I hope you're well, and I need to start building my Pokemon team for your tournament next month. Tall windows lined the wall, looking out into an inky night, offering views for every seat along the extended table travelling the length of the room. On the wall, a portrait of a woman sat crooked, and around the corner, a hearth sat blazing beneath the bust of a stuffed boar. In the shadowy corner, a door led surreptitiously into the kitchen. Dining room, hearth, boar. The taxidermied bust of a massive black-bristled boar hung on the wall of the dining room. Its tusks looked ferocious enough to pierce steel plates if not something stronger. The hearth. A roaring fire heated the room efficiently, though beyond the flames there appeared to be a key. Retrieve the key with the stick. The kid positioned their stick into the fire to retrieve the key. Smouldering stick. The stick from the woods now smouldering for some reason. The embers refused to go out. Discarded Fey. Pantry key. Evidently prior theft necessitated advanced security. And while the stick burned in the process, its integrity remained uncompromised, though its tip retained an unusually persistent smoulder. Let's go to the kitchen. The kid entered the kitchen and found little of interest. A random cutlery and the lingering smell of stale grease littered the room. An oven attached to some counters along with the rear side of the hearth, crowded around the far side of the room near a door leading into the pantry. the rear side of the hearth. Nothing was left sitting behind the flames after the kid retrieved the key. A standard brick oven, slightly ostentatious and certainly oversized. It didn't seem like anything had been cooked in there for some time. Go to the pantry. The pantry was dark, cool, and musty. Larger than expected for the size of the manse, it nestled unsettling thoughts into the kid's mind. Rotten foodstuffs, servant's note, a particularly savvy-looking rat. Save that for later. Let's talk to the rat. A large, rotund rat is sat in the centre of the pantry, watching the kid. Hey, yous look like a thrifty sort. How's about an exchange, eh? You scratch my back, I scratch yours. Capiche? So the fae and rats sound the same in my universe. Find me some cheese, yeah? This food ain't no good for nobody no how. Give me a little of the goods though, and I'm liable to talk. The kid blinked at the rat before continuing on their rummaging. After all, who has the time to speak with shifty, not to mention magical vermin? Rotten foodstuffs. A disgusting pile of rotten food that made the kids feel sick. There was no telling how long it had been sitting there. Servant's note. A small bloodied piece of paper that maddeningly detailed a particular book within the library for whatever reason. It did not explain why. Regardless, it piqued the kids' interest. They could have checked the shelves for the tome. Turn to the kitchen. What's on the stone countertops? Cutlery. The kid spotted a large knife housed with a block on the slate and decided to take it. A knife! Simple kitchen tool used for preparing meat. It may not have the highest quality at one point, but those days had long since passed. Let's go to the dining hall. The time is 10 o'clock. On the wall, a portrait of a woman sat crooked. We've read that. I don't care about these. To the foyer? Yeah. No welcome sign pot. Is there something under the potted plant? Sad remark to be desiccated. Perhaps she was right. Never mind. Okay, let's go upstairs. The kid found themselves in a, might I say, dramatically lit hallway. We're talking candelabras, stained glass, the works. The hallway led two ways, downstairs, back to the foyer, and into the manse's bedroom at the opposite end. Let's wait, was the library downstairs? No. Library was here. A vibrant carpet and luscious scarlet drapes pulled together a warm, rich environment of the hardwood library. The room stretched up far above, concealing into darkness just beyond a mezzanine. Bookshelf. Among the majority of the library walls ran a magnificent bookcase. As it were, several books stood out notably to the kids. Read the secret book. The kid opened the book expecting to find some sort of boring scrap of information, but instead was greeted with a hollowed-out center. And with that, a key. I ain't reading all this. That was the bedroom key. Well, I'm sad that I didn't help the rat with cheese, unless there's cheese in the bedroom. Surreal portrait. The kid studied the portrait in the hallway. It was a familiar-looking woman caught frozen in an expression of surprise, as though she had not expected acknowledgement. Let's go to the bedroom. Kid, finally finding the bedroom, had to take in the strangely intimate feeling of her surroundings. The room was quite invisible. One way led to a personal lavatory, the other way toward the library's mezzanine. With the only other way out back into the hallway, the kid couldn't help but take a gander around. The wardrobe, the polished vanity, the regal four-poster bed, a conspicuously well-preserved wedge of cheese. Let's go. Admittedly, the kid was forced to do a double take. There on the nightstand, kept in perfect condition under a heavy glass lid, was a spectacular wedge of cheese. Perhaps she thought the manse had belonged to a tyromancer, or a bored hobbyist. Regardless, the kid took the cheese because, quite frankly, she couldn't think of a reason not to. I mean, could you? No, I guess I couldn't. Yes, actually, there's several. Well, yeah, well, you're not the one telling the story, so pipe down. Goddamn. Anyway, the kid took the cheese and held it safely in their person. I can go to the toilet. Right, let's go find the rat first. So that was in pantry, I think. Time is 11 o'clock. Hey, set some cheddar, how about you hand over the scratch? Alright. Now here's a piece of advice for yous. Get out of town before the clock strikes 12, capiche? After that it's bad times in the biz. And don't get too enamoured by that clock in the foyer, for you know it, hours will pass by. Before the kid could say anything, the rat scurried off. What a pal. Okay, so we have to leave before 12, got it? Upstairs. No, 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 no. Wasting time. Right, we'll go to the bedroom. Go to the bathroom. Then, oh, we need to leave soon. The inside of the lavatory was fascinating to the kid. Lazuli walls painted every inch, and ornate tilings in blue and white accented the rest. Unassuming toilet, simple cabinet. It wasn't much a magical toilet. Any and all have seen one of those in their lifetimes. Why do your business in a hole in the backyard when magic can do all the transporting for you? Flush the toilet. The kid flushed the toilet. Magically, the water was whisked away. In a similar fashion, it was refilled into the bowl. Truly a marvel of magical sense. Alright, let's get out of here. How do I leave? How do I leave? Cancel. Go upstairs. Dining hall. Library. I would like to go home now. Okay, I guess. The time was midnight and haunted memory cried anguish from the foyer. The hallway only led two ways. Right, back to the foyer. In the foyer, the kid felt a horrid chill in the air. Suddenly, she came face to face with the shade of the mance's matron. Though a formidable opponent, it was nothing more than the poor witch's memories made manifest. There was no time to think. The shade saw the kid as an intruder and intended to make the consequences known. The kid had no intention of going down without a fight. The kid danced around, desperately trying to avoid cutting themselves up too bad on the broken chandelier. The kid thought briefly about what to use against the shade, pulling out a smouldering stick. The kid seared the shade's form with the smouldering end, eliciting pain from the creature. Its eyes catching the ridiculous rearrangement of the welcome sign, the shade stood for a moment in confusion. The kid wasn't about to let the opportunity pass her by. They thought briefly about what to use against them. Right, let's try the knife. They stabbed the knife with the kitchen knife, though it didn't seem to do much damage. The shade initiated its share of the combat by reaching high and striking down with incredible claw attack. The passion of the fight had been ignited, the dance was afoot. The kid danced around, trying to avoid the chandelier. Okay, I guess the smouldering stick's better. Only fate could scry the outcome. The kid danced around. Oh, so I think the broken chandelier is causing me more damage. So this might be the end of her story. The kid slumped back, defeated, and as such was the end of her adventure. As such was the kid. Wait, that's not how the story's supposed to go, right? My, how embarrassing. Perhaps, well, if you would like to hear the story again, the correct way, you should come back sometime. I'm sure you'll have it good to go by then. Now, it's getting a bit late. You should go heading back before the dark settles. The crone leans in uncomfortably close. You wouldn't want to run into the Violet Witch now, would you? He asks with a cackle. Taking his advice, you'd return home, head filled with thoughts of the kid. While taking a stroll down the centre of town, you catch the eye of a curious group of children. One of them lifts a finger and points at you and shouts, "Look, a big mushy." That's pretty rude by all means. What do you want to do? How rude? Point back. No, let's see if they want to play. Since you aren't that busy and you wish to learn more about human children anyway, you've turned to face the group and ask if you can play with them. Kids let you join in and you learn of several new exciting games. Things like tag, hide and seek, and particularly fascinating one named Stick Throw. A nearby parent approaches you, thanking you for keeping the children occupied when they shopped. You head home a bit later, after saying bye to your new little friends. I gained a new title. Sort of reputable. You have been a good person. A chilling breeze greets you one morning, heralding the approach of winter. The end of the year approaches and you find yourself considering your aspirations. You want to accomplish something significant, something you'll remember. Take on a dangerous quest, charming gala, great aspiration. Let's try the gala again. Attend the gala alone, about the person who raised you. Let's take the recluse. You know that the recluse is not a fan of crowds, however the thought of attending the gala with them appeals to you. Besides, you couldn't imagine a better person to laugh at normal humans with. The gala isn't until the end of the year, that should be plenty of time to pay the recluse a visit. One evening, while wandering back home through the woods, you hear a strange melody through the trees. Since distinctly unlike the human music you hear when in the village, you find yourself drawn towards it, if nothing else, to identify the source. As you approach, some other things become evident. Chatter, faint clanking of metal, the soundscape of commerce. Then finally you spot it, a clearing full of strange small stalls and beings, the night market. Approach the market. What a fascinating little discovery. You can't help but wonder closely, trying to understand the situation further. As you approach, you notice a selection of small vendors and other random stalls. It's getting dark, you don't have long to linger. Let's try and sell some stuff. You spy a small booth operated by a little pointy-eared man of various chromatic hues. Sounds of coins fill the air. As you approach, a little man in particularly dapper outfit greets you. "Hello, do you have anything you would like to part with? We would compensate you, of course. I assume you would prefer human currency." "Why would you assume that? But he is right nevertheless." "Yes." He lays out a collection pan and you contemplate what you would like to place in it. A Fey business card, a scholar bell. I don't really want to part with any of that. Man gestures a small crystal platter filled with sweets. If he insists, you take a piece of candy and depart. You are woken in the middle of the night by a loud crash from your kitchen. Okay, so it's the guy from before. This mushroom's a nicer person. With a sigh, you help the man to a more comfortable seating position. It appears that he may have injured his leg somehow in the fall. After a short while, he seems more comfortable moving around. Thank you kindly for the help. He seems appreciative and shockingly charismatic. He gives you a sly grin and wave before leaving you to your own business. As you take an evening stroll through the nearby woods, you happen to overhear something of a loud commotion. So that's a lot of mycelium. When you approach the noise, you're able to see the situation more clearly. Two teenage miscreants seem to be harassing a kid. Let's scare the teens. The child needs help, and you're pretty sure you know a good way to do that. You situate yourself carefully, stepping forward and grabbing one of the teens by the shoulder. After taking a quick second to ready yourself, you let out a throaty yell, giving the teen a good scare. They react instantly, scrambling away into the woods. The child, initially paralysed in fear, visibly untenses when he sees you smiling back at him. He timidly waves at you, which you return before stepping back into the woods without a word. One afternoon, while sitting at home, you realise something. Today is the day of the town's end-of-year gala. This was something you'd been anticipating, and you were thrilled when your parent agreed to join you. They must be on their way now. Chapter 4. The Recluse's Big Night Out. When your daughter had suddenly suggested that you attend a large social function, you were a little torn. You knew that you had to do it, in the same sense you would have to do the silly little thing she asks because she is your child and you love her. But this? Simply put, you're unsure whether she gets her taste for such things. It's surely not from you. As the sun approached its zenith, you knew you would be arriving to her home any moment. Then the two of you could share the walk to town. Though you are regularly forced to make brief visits to the village, you do your best to avoid the hustle and bustle of the more populated areas. Tonight would be the exception. Finally, you could see a dot of blood in the distance. Lily. Greet her with a hug. Yeah, greet her with a hug. As she approaches, you rush up and greet her with a tight hug. The two of you decide to begin the long walk to the location of the gala. The most direct path is you passing through the village, a walk that the two of you together have taken quite often. This evening the town is lively. Many seem to be making preparations for the gala, and you find that your daughter's attention has been thoroughly captured by someone selling floral accessories. You will find our corsages are the finest in all the lands, the salesman claims. You find yourself dubious, but Lily has a sparkle in her eye. She's already organic, she doesn't need flowers. Now, spoiler. Ah, what the hell, the girl so rarely seeks out material goods, you feel as though she deserves a little treat. You take the coins from your purse, and much to her surprise, purchase one of the flowered bracelets. Without further ado, you slip it onto her arm. Thankfully, it's a natural fit. The salesman thanks you, and you and your daughter continue the trek. With the matter settled, the two of you finish your comfortable walk into the estate with the gala being held. You find yourself thinking about this event. It's one that you have heard about for many years, and you've never felt the urge to learn more. As a large building entered your sight, you can't help but think that you'd still rather avoid it. Alas, it was out your hands. Thankfully, your daughter looked pleased enough for the both of you. Perhaps it was the spectacle? Just seeing all these people around, donning fancy clothes and smug looks. Maybe she didn't notice those, or maybe they were all in your head. Before you can dwell any longer, Lily grabs your hand and drags you in. As you enter, your senses are overwhelmed with all the things that humans at events do. Musicians in the corner, chirping away on their instruments, the wafting aroma of food and drink, far fancier than you're used to. A wonderland of human creation by humans for humans. Sometimes you feel as though you don't fit into that category, or that you must not if you don't enjoy such things. But for now, you overlook the man-made chaos. You and Lily wander the gala for a while, familiarising yourself with the locale. Finally, after getting a good look at everything, you find yourself tiring. You sit at a table and Lily sits beside you. While sitting, you and your daughter can't help but overhear some concerning nearby chatter. It would appear that a dance-off is to take place. Unfortunately, a dance-off does not seem to refer to turning dancing off. Evidently, it's some manner of intense tournament where the last dancers left standing win. You can see the gears in Lily's head spinning. She wants to participate in the contest, no doubt, but you're not sure you can do it. Go on. No. You cannot believe you have reared a child that desires not only to dance, but to dance in a competition with you. You also can't believe you want to do it for her, despite your many concerns. Panic fills your head and chest, and you do your best to push it away. You try to repeat the mantra, "It's for her," which helps. You stand casually dusting your shoulders off and tell her you are prepared. When you arrive at the dance floor, you're surprised by the number of participants, probably 20 people standing before you. And you were supposed to dance for longer than any of them. Yikes. The judge of the contest stands tall, wearing a colourful scarf to distinguish them from the crowd. The Gala Groove is playing. The rules are simple. The last duo dancing wins. Now, let's hear from the band. As they finish speaking, the band leaps to life. Loud melodic music fills the dance floor as the participants began to dance. Now, all that's left to do is dance. Cut the rug. As you put your left foot in and your right foot out, you find the heat you feel in your brain overwhelming. For just a moment, everything goes numb. Then you realise you're looking up from the floor. Lily's eyes are full of concern, that which barely dissipates as you sit upright. All around you, dancers continue to dance. The bubble around you and Lily is small, barely enough to prevent your limbs from being danced over on. Nevertheless, the show goes on, you suppose. You stand, dusting yourself off. The pain you feel as a result of your dancing comes as a surprise. You'd have to take it easy tomorrow. With the girl's clearly a little disappointed, she doesn't seem to blame you for your body's failings. Perhaps you're not as young as you used to be. She helps you up and the two of you return home. Chapter 3. Again. Getting back early was something you had realistically expected, which you think helps avoid disappointment. At least you knew the recluse made it back safely. As you grow older, you look back over your life. You think back to the witch who created you and can't help but wonder if everything met her expectations. You wonder if you were the daughter your parent had hoped for. Ending, after all this time. She didn't die! You have grown up. Alright. We go again. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. Let's give her a misshapen sack. The sack had sat in a forgotten storage bin for so long you'd no longer guess its contents. The unsettling appearance and yielding but distinct feel of it leaves you without the courage to even peek inside. Could this feeling be of use to your daughter? Perhaps with some nurturing care something could grow from this. I suppose all growth comes at a cost, no? Most suited for her. Organize a surprisingly understated collection of keepsakes. Test the selection of... Well, there have been some activities I've been meaning to get to. Perhaps you could help make yourself useful and cross one off the list for me. Not realizing that they were simply saving the witch some time, they were close to determined which task they were most suited for. Attend to a certain matter of a noxious laundry basket. Test the selection of elixirs. Let's drink some drinks. Surely the witch wouldn't offer anything that could kill her or maim, right? The recluse tried to clear their head of worries that they carefully slipped. In the end, they did walk away safely at the very least. Arriving back at the meeting point, returned to their hut for the remainder of the night. So this is when I picked the colour, right? I'm going to pick the pumpkin this time. Yep. It's not a flower, the recluse figured, but perhaps that's okay. Their daughter would be unique, like a single gourd sitting proudly in a field of daisies. Just like the pumpkin in the hands was before they took it. The recluse returned to the witch's hut, coloured item in hand. Okay, now what? Pay at a much later date in the way that I choose. The recluse told the witch that they couldn't repay her, not anytime soon. That's fine, of course, I would collect payment eventually. With the payment settled, the witch simply smiled and handed the recluse a small pot. Right. Name for pumpkin-coloured mushroom. I'm just thinking of Pokemon, like Pumpkaboo, or Gorgeist. Let's go with... Names are hard. I mean, what if we called her Pumpkin, but it's meant to be like exception, like a endearing thing, like calling someone sweetheart, calling them Pumpkin. So I need to like write Pumpkin brackets endearing. No, they're not enough room. Corn servant, no. It says the things that needs to raise a child. Princess Pumps. Wait, the Princess Pumps? Okay. Hungry birds. Let's fetch your bow and hunt them. You retrieve your bow and you're lucky to leave with not one but 2 birds from the flock. They shouldn't show up again for a while. You and your daughter may rest. Nothing more could be done to the birds. The matter's laid to rest. You overhear a noise. It sounds like the clinking of... Okay, so it's the fairy again. Right, let's gamble. A significant bag of substrate, whatever that is. Figure that if some portion of her substrate is lost, then you can simply gather more. Oh, goody, dirt! Just what every fae dreams of. Yeah, I'll call her PSL going forward. You get the impression that he's being sarcastic, but somehow you can't be bothered to care. Regardless of his derision, the fae cast his die. A 6. With mild relief, you realise that you've won. Your daughter will not go hungry tonight for your poor decisions. I guess I can scrounge your winnings up. Give me a minute. The fairy murmurs, ducking into a tree and coming out moments later with a large sack in hand. I think you find this is the good stuff. Watch out, recluse. You'll spoil that mushroom of yours. She'll never be able to go back. She'd take the substrate and depart, only slightly concerned that he's being literal. And she's evolving. has propelled himself in the house, bumping into things. So we encouraged her thoughtfulness last time. Let's motivate her to do something more productive. Concerned about your daughter's lack of enrichment, you decide to encourage her to do something else. You send her outside to utilise her newfound locomotion through play and exercise. You watch her cheerfully learn to run and jump about, becoming more daring with every moment. The decision being made, life continued. Okay, this one's with the witch. Let's not introduce them. Not quite sure of intentions, you decide to speak with the witch somewhere else. After telling your daughter to stay put, you greet the witch at the door. The two of you take a walk through the woods, partaking in light conversation. You decide that you feel comfortable asking the witch for a stipend, something to help raise the child. She shrugs in acceptance, handing you a small parcel of coins. At the next clearing, she takes her leave in a seemingly random direction. The decision being made, life continued. One day you wake earlier than normal, and you hear an ethereal croon originating from your garden. When you go out, you spot it. A small fairy clad in a pumpkin is sitting amongst your crops. Build a small fairy garden in your daughter's room using supplies. Offer a coin to the fairy. Catch the fairy to sell into town. Hunt the fairy to use as food for your daughter. Build a small garden. Without delay, you quickly gather supplies, greenery, some common foods, hell, throw in a drop of blood, fae love, that sort of thing. Sorry. After consulting some books to ensure that it's an appropriate space, you lure the fairy in with treats. Though they seem unsure at first, the fairy eventually accepts your offer of a home. Feel a sense of relief. The girl's been asking you for a pet. Finally, you have something for her. Gain the trust. Wait, in Deb. Eventually, the witch will come for you. Mushroom creature. Very familiar. You have a small magical friend that's a tendency to follow you. Alright. Dun 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 dun. Your daughter has changed in the night. One morning, you notice that your daughter is nowhere to be seen. After an hour, you find her. As you approach, you turn and smiles before continuing to stare into space. Buy her a nice gift. Tell her it's time to go home. You kneel beside your daughter and offer your hand, telling her time to go. She smiles brightly, and the two of you return home. Well, staying at home, you hear an unexpected knock at the door. You're faced with a man you never wish to see again. Though he was older now, the scar running down his cheek was unmistakable. It took me a while to find you this time. We're close. The sound of his voice sends a long-forgotten chill down your spine. The man is your former business partner from a time when you did work that was less than admirable. I'm sure all this time alone had given you plenty of time to reflect. Are you finally ready to get back to business? Kill the man. Give the man significant sum to go away. Hell yeah, let's kill him. Some things will never be over until, well, they're over. You had hoped it wouldn't come to this, yet you feel as though there is no other option. You invite the man in and offer him a seat in your main living area, then excuse yourself to prepare drinks. But unfortunately for him, he will never drink again. Before the man begins to suspect anything is wrong, you take a straight-edged razor and slit his throat from behind. The blood falls like a red sheet down his body, and when you look up you realise that your daughter has been standing there watching the whole time. She doesn't react strongly, but you fear this may leave an impression on her regardless. The weather... well... child? Question mark? That still makes me laugh. The weather is nice and you're feeling up to doing some foraging today. Maybe easier if you focus on something before you head out. Send your daughter alone to gather ferns while you relax. Take your daughter foraging. Let's forage for mushrooms. As you search the forest floor, you teach your daughter about the different mushrooms. She asks if this is what she looks like as a baby and you're unsure how to respond. You suppose you're glad to teach the girl about her heritage. Decision being made, life continued. An end? One night you find yourself struggling to sleep, you find your mind wanders. You live peaceably with your daughter for many moons. You're always thankful for the company. Your thoughts turn to the concept of time, particularly how you were once alone and how you are afraid you will be again someday. Your daughter's had more and more curiosities about the outside world. You can die proud of. Whoa. What were those titles? Right. Ultimately, find yourself done. You may have had many failures in life, but there's one thing you can be proud of. Gained trait, poisonous, hallucinogenic, great appeal. Telling the recruits that you wanted to see more of the world wasn't easy conversation. You were scared a little. I'm so good at loving parents. Pumpkin. Imbued pumpkin fly algoric, a distinctly patterned toadstool packed with appeal. So poisonous. You have a bad habit of causing great harm to those who take a bite out of you. May cause hallucination. You're naturally charming and people seem to love you. I was going to try and give her, like, a hard upbringing, but I guess not. You awake one night to the full moon and eerie sound of singing. And just outside, tiny fairies are dancing, singing, and bringing up sprouted mushrooms. One of them spots you watching and wishing you closer. Go back to bed. Go forward and play with the fairies. Let's try and catch one. You somehow manage to snatch one of the fairies out of the midair with a little more than your hands, and before the others can react, you rush home. As you enter, you're made aware of a flickering light. Your fairy roommate, you suppose. The flickering grows more violent, and she gets right up in your face. For some reason, you think she may be upset with you. You try to reason with her, but in the end, you just get a tiny handful of sparkling dust thrown in your face. Next thing you know, you're waking up on the floor, your fairy familiar, and the captive nowhere to be seen. Some creatures are just too sensitive. Fairy scorn. You have made a decision to cross a fairy, a notoriously good idea. One day in the need of supplies, you head to the local apothecary. Now we've got that wizard staring at us. Let's try and fight him off. We failed last time. You angrily tell him on your heels that I am a person, you know. You can't see him. You can see him visibly pale, taking a handkerchief out of his pocket and wiping the sweat from his brows. He chokes on an apology. While wandering the woods near your home, you suddenly hear something rustling in the foliage ahead of you. Before you can react, a large boar bursts from the brush and locks eyes with you. You sense an intense, flaming aura of determination emanate off this wild hog. Face it head on. You're sure you came prepared for this. Run for your life. If it's a snack he wants, go on. You manage to pick off a decent-sized piece of your cap and hurl it at the pig, who aggressively begins to tear into the chunk of mushy flesh. The pig makes a small squeal, seemingly just annoyed by the taste. It ignores the weak toxins it consumed and charges at you. It smashes into your legs and puts you on your butt. Thankfully, the wild beast's bloodlust seems to have been satiated. I think it's sated, but whatever. You feel a crisp breeze. The heat is relenting. Trees are changing in colour. Fall's arrived. While out for a walk that skirts you stumble upon a small lake you know the villagers frequent. You notice a group of villagers swimming far from the shore, well-known fishes from a small dock. How should you spend your time there? Just go home, join them for a swim, take a swim, you're sure it'll be fine. Sit at the dock, you're more curious how fishing works. Sit and soak your feet in the water. Sit and soak. You spend some time relaxing, kicking your feet in the cool water. Things just don't get better than this. After you spend enough time lounging, you stand and walk off, leaving a trail of small wet footsteps all the way home. You leave your home later in the hours of the morning one day, only to set upon a strange woman. Here we are again. Blah de blah de blah. Let you know if I see something. Oh. While foraging one day, you discovered a dilapidated outhouse in the middle of the forest. You wonder what's doing it here. After all, the surrounding area is all land that's clearly been abandoned for some time. Inspect the facility. Let's use the toilet. Slowly, you poke your head into the outhouse, eyes held tightly shut. You loosen the lid slightly, feeling the muted light of the interior attempt to reach your vision. It's floating detritus, eagerly awaiting to... Wait a minute. This is supposed to be this nice? It's immaculate. Almost intimidating. You can't believe it. This random forest toilet might be too good for you. You're not sure how to feel. Experience such a hypostatic phenomenon is sure to make anybody feel out their wits. You need to go home, sit down, and think about this. Maybe not think about this. Perhaps a nap in a liberally applied session of repression to make sure you forget your inferiority. Though let's be real, this inferiority will last you a lifetime. A complex bestowed upon you by eldritch forces of a particularly exquisite commode. Privy Revelator. Over the past few days, you've developed a growing sense of unease, and one particularly glooming evening, the feeling intensifies. You're in the dying days of autumn, and a chill in the air bites your skin. As you look out into the nearby woods, you feel a strange calling, an invisible force pulling you towards something. It seems you're being summoned. Okay, this is to the witch, I think. Yep. Oh. However, your relief is short-lived when you see the cold and serious look on her face as you approach. My daughter, the time has come, though. Though it was not yours, there is still a debt left unsettled, and I always find a way to collect payment. It seems she really does intend to make you pay for your parents' debt. After such a long time, you can't imagine what she would require of you. It certainly won't be easy. Ask her for a reprieve. It's not your debt, after all. Take care of a dangerous and unsavory matter. Fight the witch. Let's do something dangerous. There is one matter you're told that you can deal with for the witch in exchange for clearing your debt. One of my daughters has become dangerous, she tells you. A wandering, mindless monster that has proven to be quite the annoyance. Deal with her for me and you consider us even. Something tells you there's a reason she won't describe the specific sort of danger this daughter poses, but you can only accept her terms. While tending to your home, you begin to feel an otherworldly pull towards the forest. Force yourself to turn tail. Treat her as a stranger. Hope you're learning magic. Let's try learning magic again. Approached by a scraggly and energetic man. He's very interested in your mushroom features and asks if you'd be willing to trade something for a few bits of your flesh. Sure. You suppose you don't mind sharing some of your branches, it grows back anyway. Fortunately, you get is a couple of coins. After you make the trade, the man tells you of a small gathering later that night. He and his friends plan to meet in the forest so they can all go for a trip in the woods. How quaint. You're invited and he gives you some brief directions. Go meet in the forest. You figure these humans could use a hand with their late night trips, so you decide to join them. You order the foods at night, and left sunlight you stumble upon the small group. They all seem welcoming. Scraggly man from before invites you to sit with him by the fire. The man shows you a pot filled with some sort of tea. He says it was made from the bits that you traded him earlier that day. Supposedly drinking it will send you to an otherworldly and mind-altering trip. He asks you if you would like some. You would rather not, but conservation does sound nice. You'd rather not, and you wish to punish those deviants. Let's punish them. Come on, roll high. Deciding to make a twisted game of this, you sit and wait, watching the group. Eventually, you notice one of the humans appear to be struggling. You think they may not be enjoying the experience of, well, you. You make your way over, sitting next to them, then you begin to toy with them. You tell them of horrid creatures and do your best to inflate their fears. You do this all night to the various participants, making it a nightmare for many of them. You leave with a cruel, accomplished sense of satisfaction. If they can't handle your power, then they shouldn't come crawling to you for a handout. Got a new title. Cruel. You not only delight in suffering, you actively seek to cause it. I want more magic stuff. You have offered to kill one of your sisters. I thought it was one of her... Oh, shit. Okay. Yeah, I suppose I am killing a sister. Group of 3 armed men stop you while you're out demanding in goods and you may or else. The fresh blood in their weapons show they're not idle threats. Let's use magic. And roll high this time. Casting a number of weak but still flashy spells does indeed startle the 3 men. They quickly scatter, hopefully learning not to try and rob a lone mushroom girl ever again. Snow begins to fall and make your way down an unfamiliar road. The day has finally come for you to settle the matter you agreed to with the witch. For the past few days you've heard a rumour of a wandering mushroom creature has been spotted lurking around near villages. A mindless daughter of the witch, overcome by the urge to destroy and consume. You've tracked her to the vicinity of a particularly remote village in the region. You get the feeling that successfully slaying the creature will be a minor miracle. Hide somewhere with a view. Ask around the village. Search for tracks. You take a detour through the village to consult some locals in the matter. Though they are initially reluctant, you've heard of a special drink that makes humans talk. Or so you thought, but even after procuring a hearty bottle of drink at the local tavern, it seems that nobody's interested in joining you for conversation. You wake up a couple hours later, apparently having imbibed too much of the drink yourself. You hurriedly leave the village, eager to make up for the lost time. You first notice the buzzing, nearly omnipresent but clearly originating from her misshapen and corpulent form. Stinging insects fly about, crawling on just about every nearby surface. The Wandering Sister is a pale, lumbering corpse of a human. Any reservations you had about destroying her vanish in the horror of the sight before you. Her cap is mottled brown, and large crevice-like holes mar her almost inhuman body. Little intermittent clouds of insects convene at various points in her enormous form. She takes a lumbering step towards you, and finally managing to suppress your fear for a moment, you devise an approach. Try to talk to her. Maintain distance. Maintain distance. You consider the murmuring beast carefully, making sure to maintain a moderate distance. The thing hunts relentlessly, but obviously lacks the ability to effectively track targets. Taking advantage of its limited perception, you find the perfect moment to act. Cast a desperate spell. Feign and throw your knife. Wait, the scholars, surely they can help. Not wasting any time, you grab and ring the bell the scholar gave you in the last-ditch effort to... Hey there, Pumpkin. Yeah, you had to hand it to her. At least she's punctual. So what do we have? Kalia rolls around, looking eyes at the creature. Oh, my celium. Look at all the cuties. What? Taking a quick glance at the Wandering Sister, it seems she has a similar reaction. The one that quickly switches to horror as Celia charges towards her. Celia plunges her hands into the Wandering Sister, seemingly oblivious to the entity itself, and begins snatching up all the critters. She has what seems like an endless amount of jars that can hold what seems like an endless amount of bugs. The Wandering Sister can't even do anything, she's just being picked apart piece by piece. And Celia looks happier than anyone you've ever met. It's borderline terrifying. At length, Celia returns to you, skipping and smiling, elated beyond human capacity. Behind her, you can see the corpse of the Wandering Sister, crumpling into the pile on the ground. Look at all these little fellas, Celia shouts, a good 2 feet from your face. Aren't they the cutest? You're not exactly inclined to agree, but well, at least she's happy. With a particularly quick farewell, Celia departs, eager to examine and study the insects. You sure do attract the weirdos, huh? I'm really enjoying this. I'm gonna have to, see if I can, well, there wasn't anywhere to buy it, but I'll definitely put it on my wish list. This is really fun. Kind of reminds me of, is it World of Horror? The one that's, black and white. Perturbed, you stand over the corpse that was once one of your sisters. It's mangled and mashed and lifeless without the insects. It makes you feel a strange sadness. But hey, screw that. You've triumphed. You feel an unpleasant gloom lift, and know that you're no longer beholden to the witch. You spend the rest of the evening making camp and burying your sister. Part of you wonders where Celia is and what she's doing. Perhaps it's best not to dwell on these thoughts. What did I get? Soricide. Sororicide means the act of murdering your sister. Also where the word sorority comes from. Same prefix. What else? Fracticide, like fraternity, is killing your brother. Matricide and patricide, killing your mother and father. Regicide, killing a noble or royalty. I'm looking for... Where's matricide? Soricide. You have triumphed over your monstrously powerful abomination, one of your sisters. You look back on your life, you think back to the witch who created you and can't help but wonder if everything met her expectations. Oh, we reached the end. Oh, I wanted a slightly different ending, but okay. Let's look at this almanac. So we've got cordyceps. Right. Should there not be more? Why do I only see cordyceps? Oh, here they are. R.I.P. Can try and get all the colors as well. Special color. Again. Okay. Let's go for the tear-stained portrait. A buried memory was retrieved from the nightstand, but hope was that the subject's lonesome lilac leer would provide their daughter a humbling understanding of mortality to enrich their life. Sardonic smile. She wants us to do activities. Neutralize her most dangerously volatile reagents. Take a selection elixirs. Neutralize her most dangerously volatile reagents. What is life without a little excitement, the recluse thought, and what was more exciting than working with something that could likely harm you? Thankfully, they made quick work of the strange items. They even managed to escape with all the limbs intact. Arriving back to the meeting point, the recluse was excited to report the... Okay, let's go back to the rocks. Garnet. Lost Maroon heralded by bygone storms. Well, just because I've been playing Dawn Trail and if anyone's here that's been playing Dawn Trail, nope, never mind. It's technically a spoiler for those that might not be up to date. Garnet's an FF9 reference, so the glint of garnet caught by the recluse's eye. With a bit of polish, it would shine a deep ruddy red, a beautiful that could only be beat by their daughter. Maroon. The recluse returned to the witch's hut. Okay. Pay now with wealth, with life. Let's pay now. This will be sufficient. Okay, what will their name be? I mean, we could just call them Garnet, but that's not fun. Right, so it was a Garnet, they're a Mushroom. You know what? Hold on, I figured it out. If that's gonna be Garnet, let's call them Dagger. That's an FF9 joke. I beat you to it, Kev. Only just. Then she walked away, only fate knowing the two should ever meet again. Nutrients for the child. Ignore the bird. Let's ignore the birds this time. Nothing to be done. Pests will be pests. Life must carry on. Nothing could be done. The matter was laid to rest. The day's gone from already. The sun's gentle descent is being swallowed by the forest reach. You weren't able to finish everything you set out for today, but you only have time for one more chore. Purchase new construction materials. You've already worked hard enough. Retire to the tavern. Finish a favour the village leader asked of you. Barter for some fine substrates to better grow your daughter. Let's go to the pub. Let's be a deadbeat. The wee thing won't miss you for a few hours, and besides, you've hardly had a moment of free time since the whole thing began. You leave later that night, lighter in the purse, but with a newfound prep. I want to try and eat my child. I've not had that option since. Your task is behind you. You and your daughter return home, each due a nice bath and a simple dinner. What will you turn into? Oh no. One day you awaken to the sound of rustling movement and find your daughter is grown enough to be capable of rudimentary locomotion. The creature slinks around it uneasily, and a cute little face now greets you on her once featureless body. Her demeanour seems gloomy and shy, preferring to sit in dark corners for long periods of time. Motivate her to do something safer. Encourage her discretion. Your daughter's development is going better than expected, and you want to promote her somber nature. You clear out some space in your closet, making a little spot for her to sit in complete darkness. She contentedly lies in the little closet for much of the day, seemingly finding some enrichment in activity. Decision being made, life continued. You've been irresponsible with your funds. One more necessary expense and you won't have food to survive. You'd love to interact with the others, but you may have to find some work. Suck it up and get to work. You'd rather die poor than get a job, and you just might. You'd rather die poor and get a job. You stubbornly refuse to earn more money, convincing yourself you can get by without it. You'll have to be very careful with your last few coins from now on. The decision being made, life continued. One evening you hear a light knocking at your door, quite a rare occurrence. It's the witch. Introduce her to our daughter. We don't have the money. Oh, maybe I should have asked the first stipend. Fuck. Your daughter needs food and you've just run out. Spend the day gathering. You can't spare the time today, she'll have to go hungry. After looking through your cabinets, you managed to find old enough substrate to ease your nerves for the time being. You're no expert mushroom daughters, but they wouldn't just wither up and die after 1 or 2 nights without dinner, right? In your somewhat somnambulant state, you hear an ethereal croon originating from your garden. Small fairy. Offer a coin. Build a small garden. Food for your daughter. You fetch your bow, making quick work of the thing. You figure it could be used the same way as a bird, prepared over fire. Cool. I don't know what just happened. Fairy blood. You've been thoroughly saturated with the essence of dead fairies. You're also a magical creature. Is that cannibalism? So, okay. You hope that will infuse your daughter with something special. She is already fae-touched, perhaps this will feel something in her. Decision being made, life continued. Now, what will you turn into this time? What am I looking at? What? No, what are you? She's not done growing, okay. Berry-blooded mushroom. One day you notice that she's missing, hiding in a narrow crevice under a large stump. To your surprise, the creature has now taken the form of a young girl. Has she? You feel relieved to confirm that the witch hadn't betrayed you. She retreats shyly into the hole. She doesn't seem scared but doesn't want to leave. Wait for her. Buy her a nice gift. I'll wait for her. She seems intent on hiding, so you decide not to disturb her. Taking a seat near the stump, you appreciate the beauty of the forest and spend time thinking lovingly of your daughter. After several long hours, just as you were starting to reconsider waiting, she creeps out the hole. Whatever she was doing in there seems to be content for now. Decision being made, life continued. You awaken only to discover that your daughter is covered in tiny parasitic creatures. For the sake of her health, you should probably find a way to get rid of the little pests. Give them a thorough rinse, buy some herbal pesticides, encourage her to embrace the change. She's all organic, leave them be. I don't want her to die. Give her a thorough rinse. After a moment of contemplation, you gather the requisite components for a soapy bath. Your daughter thankfully seems to enjoy the experience the creatures are dealt with. Your daughter needs food too, and you've just run out. You need to find something to feed her sooner, or she'll surely starve. Let's try and get something. You spend the day foraging and digging in the woods, return with a heap of mushroom food for your hungry daughter. A little hard to be sure, but it seems like she's thankful. Many strange weeks since the witch had gifted you a child. Felt much longer. It would take to rear your child. Long days and nights toiling out for every need left you drained. That constant aching tiredness made it difficult to be present for the girl. You suspected you weren't the role model a growing child needed. You sat down your mug of ale, readying yourself for another night of restless sleep. Maybe in the morning things would be easier. So she's off-putting and shy. You had suspected for a long time that your time with the recluse was coming to an end. Felt like you were trapped, like you were kept locked away, unwanted, forgotten. But you're older now and the ability to fend for yourself. There's no reason to stay where you're not wanted. Preparations have been underway for a while, and you've made a little place to live in the woods. Things will only get better. Maybe in the morning you'll finally be able to see you for yourself. Distant parent. hairy mycena. A tiny, cute bonnet mushroom hosts an unsettling fungus. That's cute. Something about you simply does not sit well with humans. An expert of avoidance, you can always successfully hide from others. Okay. Fairy blood. You have been thoroughly saturated with essence of fairies. Your parent was not as kind to you as you deserved. Now that you are alone, you are free. Discover a dilapidated thing. Inspect the facility. You open that house to peer inside. Cobwebs. Sure enough, this facility has been used in some. You have a strike that there appears to be a fresh-ish droppings of the pit latrine, complete with unnerving look, though perhaps just the abundance of webbing spanning across the hole's opening. To your look, there's a small burlap bag next to the seat. How convenient. Wait, what are you? Are you actually... Item received. Night soil. Well, no use in heading back home empty-handed. Did I just, like, pick up a bag of shit? Is that what just happened? I'm trying to look for it. Where is it? You have a big bag of nutrients for some reason. Yep, I collected shit. While tending to your home, you begin to feel an otherworldly pull towards the forest. This is where we meet the witch. Let's try and force ourselves to run. No matter how hard you try, your body will not listen, and you slowly enter the hut. The witch shakes her head and forces you to sit down on a mushroom stool. Do you think that badly of me, that you would fight so hard against my summons? I simply wish to check on you. Oh well, I won't call you again after this. As she checks on your growth and changes, you can feel the magic holding you there twist into something ominous when you suddenly wake up back home. I'm withering. Cool. I'm decaying. The sun casting a beautiful warm tint across everything that you saw. Today is a particularly beautiful sight, blossoming fruit trees and the wind blowing through grass. Your eyes feel heavy and suddenly you find yourself falling into a deep sleep. In your dreams you're sitting on a tree branch. So I've read this bit. Try to memorize the place, sing along. Where do you go when I'm awake? Where do you go when I'm awake? Oh, here and there, really. There's usually someone asleep somewhere, so I have no shortage of options. I must admit, I've not met many people like you. Perhaps I'll return someday if you'll have me. Your eyes start opening. You feel a crisp breeze. The heat is relenting. Trees are changing in colour. Fall's arrived. You wake one night to a full moon and the eerie sound of singing. The cool night air is drawn over your flesh. And just outside you see a group of fairies are dancing and singing inside a ring of sprouted mushrooms. One of them spots you watching, motions you closer. I could go back to bed, that'd be funny. Try to sing along with them. Let's try singing along. It's odd, but deep down the fairy's song and speech feel familiar to you. You approach and let instincts take over. Soon your voice joins with theirs and the world seems to melt away. The trees, dirt at your feet, even the moon seem to shift and change until you feel like you're in an entirely whole different world. It feels oddly like you've finally come home. Suddenly you wake up in your bed, though it would seem you had dreamt it all up. You cannot shake the feeling that it was real. Fae fondness? Fae touched. You've stepped into the world of the Fae and have not left unchanged. Okay. Night sky is clear and beautiful as you sit on a stump atop a small hill looking up. Something catches your eye and you notice the streak of a shooting star. Quick, make a wish. Right, so last time I tried to wish for the star, but I needed to roll a 10, and I don't like my odds. Wish to be blessed with delicious food. Wish to stay in good health. Probably to wish to stay in good health because I'm dying. Wish for the people of the kingdom to live peaceful lives. Wish to go stronger. Let's try and be in good health. You slept so well at the night when you woke up, you feel full of vigour, ready to take on another day. I've lost the withering trait. Excellent. Walking along the road into town, you spot something large lying on the path some distance away. Fortunately, you find a human on the ground groaning in pain. You don't really get it, but some part of them is broken. They look up at you, uncertain but pleading. Help them back to town. Play with them. Oh, shall we go down the fairy route? Shall we play with them? Unsure why they're lying around in the dirt, you decide to cheer them up by playing a little game. The human seems unreceptive and confused, but charmed. Eventually you tire of the game and decide to move on. A chilling breeze greets you one morning, heralding the approach of winter. The end of the year approaches, and you find yourself considering your aspirations. You want to accomplish something. Decide to, go on a dangerous quest. In your travels, you have been told of some particularly challenging quests, possible tests of your merit. Of all the potential opportunities for glory you've heard, you decide to... Actually, don't do a quest. You said you'd rather not embark on some quest. It could be dangerous. Okay, let's do this one. Decide not to pursue anything. You've had an exciting enough year already. There's no need to put more on your plate. You simply decide to look forward to peaceful days ahead. While sitting outside in your garden and taking in the fresh air, you hear the call of a crow, then another, and another. You look up to find a rather large group of sleek black birds perched into the trees above you. A few are eyeing your garden while others are just birding around, as birds are wont to do. Feed the crows some spare scraps, scare them off, just watch them. Well, you know what? Crows are very intelligent, and you can befriend crows. So, like, let's be friends with crows. You head to your kitchen, scrounging up some nuts and bits of old bread before returning to the murder outside. Tossing the morsels to the ground, you step back to give the birds some space. A few of the braver ones eventually swoop down and start to peck at the scattered bits of food, others still watching from on high. You sit back down, spending a relaxing afternoon watching them eat. Right, yep. What did I say? What did I say? Friend of bird. You've been kind to birds, they always remember that. One day, while tending some foraging business in the woods, you make a strange discovery. Brackets, what else is new? You go to retrieve some fruit from a low shrub, but as you move a branch, you notice something out of the corner of your eye. A glint of metal. Metal? It could be a lost item belonging to some human, or it could be something valuable for you to keep. You go to more closely examine the item and have a realization. Before you is a perfectly sculpted copper hand. As you lean in to look for any marks that could betray its origin, you realize the hand is connected to a body. The thing before you is unbelievable. It's as if someone had taken a person and plated them with copper. You wonder if this is the case for a second, but reel with horror when you see it move. The being stands up. Surely plated copper could not speak with such validity. You hear a sound as if the thing was speaking. Yeah, so true, so true. You're of unsure what to say. The thing seems confused at your confusion for a moment, before snapping her fingers in thought. She stretches one arm up and touches the back of her head, then cheerfully speaks. Sorry, I totally forgot to adjust my translator. Can you understand me now? You find yourself shocked for a moment at the chipper disposition of whatever this thing is. While your response is slightly delayed by shock, you confirm to her that technically understanding what she says. The information brings her joy, which results in a little hopping exclamation of the phrase, "Woo!" Her excitement is contagious. When she clasps her hands in yours, you can't help but jump with joy by her. Being this close to her, you get a chance to examine this being more closely. Once you look beyond her glistening coat, you can see her physical characteristics more clearly. She is petite, thinly stocked and standing just slightly shorter than you, with similarly numbered and proportioned limbs. Though her face is human-like in nature, it is not precise. Spotting the differences in human faces was occasionally challenging to you, but something about hers felt a little off. Maybe an eye too many, and do humans ever normally have those little antennae? You're quickly stamped out your thoughts when the being asks you a question. So, are you a member of the dominant species on this planet? I'd love a tour guide if you want to show me what people do for fun around here. You consider a request for a second. What do people do for fun? Well, you suppose you have a couple ideas. Show her what your daily life is like. Show her the village. Encourage her to leave your woods. Show her what your daily life looks like. Well, you can't show her what anyone else does for fun. You show her what you do for fun. Fun is a little subjective, though. So you hope she'll enjoy herself. When you tell her she can follow you, she perks up, which is quite impressive since she was already quite perked. You begin by introducing her to the woods, though you find she has already introduced herself in a sense. I came to this place from the sky, but when I was supposed to land I sort of, crashed, she explains. I only woke up just now, hopefully I've not been out for too long. You don't exactly know what she means by this, coming from the sky. Perhaps she's the manner of a fey creature, you figure. It takes you a little time to realise that she must be from a place very different. Also, once again, I appreciate this Dagger. Dagger's adorable. Look at Dagger. She pauses every few steps to marvel over something, the colour of some tree bark or the way a spider's web flows with the breeze. Finally, you arrive at the centrepiece of your town, a cavern you had found one day while foraging, buried in the sides of a cliff. The real prize, of course, was something within. You returned countless times just to sneak another glimpse of a rare phenomenon you can barely describe. Within, light was limited. This was important for reasons that may become evident, but your companion initially seems confused. You quietly tell her to take a seat right next to you. The two of you sit in darkness for a few long moments. The silence is deafening, but you slowly begin to grow concerned that your show may not be happening. So what are we waiting for? She asks, her attention span clearly depleted. You try to assure her that something spectacular happens in the darkness of the cave. It's just a matter of patience, but unfortunately, even after waiting a long while, the phenomenon never occurs. Finally, your companion stands up with a long stretch. Well, I think we're going to get out of here, but thanks for showing me this super cool cave, I guess. Before you can stop her, she skips away to find a more thrilling guide. This is what you get for expecting sentient creatures to be reliable, you suppose. Knock at your door, and you see a woman dressed in a somewhat tacky dress. Oh, it's the children again. Yeah, let's attend. And then are they going to ask us the same question? Oh, nice. Yeah, yes. Dampness, more like dankness. How wet and slimy her body is, but also murkiness of the soul. What's your... Shocked to hear the question. What's my favourite colour? Fairy-blooded, literally any other colour. The bias, literally it. Let's say fairy-blooded. Oohs and ahs. I knew it, one of them says confidently, sitting in his seat. You're glad you can meet their expectations. You spend a while answering questions. Finally, after a while, one of them speak. Looks like we have time for one more question. It's hard to say, but you get the impression that they seem unenthused with this experience so far. You suspect that they thought your answers would be more exciting or perhaps more frightening for the children. Nevertheless, they still seem full of questions. Once more, you point at a random child with a snotty nose, and he slowly asks, "How old are you?" Ageless. It takes you a moment to formulate your answer, but finally you figure out the best way to describe it. You explain that you were created of magic, a force that you could not put a number on. Perhaps you came into creation recently, but you had a head start. One child raises her hand for a follow-up question. What did people do before they invented clothes? Were they just naked all the time, she asks. You're forced to explain that you meant your answer more metaphorically. Children have absolutely no sense of theatrics. After everyone is quieted down, the adults begrudgingly begin to pack things up. The children also begin to disappear, accompanied by a smattering of parents. One adult, the one who originally requested that you attend, walks up to you. Well, thank you for coming, I suppose, she pauses. We were hoping that you'd be a little more, well... She trails off with a shrug. It's just we were all hoping to scare them a little, you know? Keep them on the straight and narrow. Well, in any case, thank you for being so informative, I guess. And boring, one of the other adults interjects as she steps out of the room. Absolute gall to call you boring. At least the children seem entertained, more or less. As you go to walk home, a rogue child suddenly approaches you. Thank you for talking to us today, mushy lady. I learned lots. Before you have a chance, the young girl leaps at you in what can only be assumed was a hug. Shugai leaves with a parent, but you find yourself thankful you took the time out of your day to attend. As you grow older, you look back over your life. You think back to the witch who created you. You are proud of the mushroom woman you have grown yourself to be. Wow, I'm really good at getting this same ending. So I've gotten... So that was the first one. Is there like a back button that I'm missing? So, cordyceps. This is like a different thing. Whatever. Right, let's do one more. I'm gonna try and eat my child. Foraging notebook. It's important for a young person to be well grounded. Bring me a jar of soil to help with this process. Keep in mind that not all dirt is the same. Consider the source carefully. Most picturesque section of a forest you have ever set eyes on. Barren spot of a forest long since struck by some invisible ailment. Your favourite foraging nook. Get hidden from curious villagers. When in need, the spot had never let the recluse down. This was no different. Okay, do a chore. Noxious laundry bath. Hidden away in a dusty corner of her hut, the recluse found a forgotten basket of laundry that left stewing for who knows how long. Dealing with it took most of the day and left them with a lingering cough, but resulted in an unrivaled sense of accomplishment. I just got something called moulding. That doesn't seem good. Arriving back to the meeting point, the recluse was excited to report the progress. Very good, how kind. Colour. Oh, this is new. Your other daughter types are the almanac, just not in the 3-star category. Check the 1-star. Your other daughter types are in the almanac, just not in the 3-star category. Oh, so like it really is a gacha system. I'm guessing like 3-star or more rare or something. Okay, thank you for explaining that. The Cave of Indecision. I didn't have this before. There was a place to the recluse went when they could not make their mind up on a matter. Though their daughters' lives were important and every choice may matter, they knew that not every choice was theirs to make. It was unfair to saddle her with all their expectations. Sometimes it was best to let destiny decide. They entered the darkness of the cave, feeling soft moss beneath their feet. Once they went far enough back, there was no longer enough light to make out in the surroundings. This was far enough. They reached down, taking the first thing they felt into their hands. This is what they would take to the witch. Oh, interesting. They reached down, taking the first thing they felt in their hands. Okay. She silently took the object, nodding her head. Okay, time for... Pay with my life. Okay, so... Last mushroom of the evening. Let's call her... just because I've been playing ZZZ the past few days, Bell. Cultivation. Some about our pot. You have a few ideas to improve it, but you only have so much time. Which do you decide to move forward with? Decorate the pot, buy some fancy substrate, infuse the oil with a drop of your own blood, ensure the soil remains ever damp. Yeah, let's use our blood. If this mushroom is to be your daughter, you think it's only appropriate to share your blood with her. That is typical of a parent and child, you have been told. You want your daughter to know her parents, so you prick your finger and tell her your darkest secret as you quench her thirst. Though you do not need her to share your burdens in life, you think it's only fair that she has an inkling of what those burdens are. Her quality of life having been improved, life continued. The day's gotten away from you already. The sun's gentle descent is being swallowed. You weren't able to finish everything you set out to do, but you only have time for one more chore. You've already worked hard enough. Better substrates. Purchase new construction materials. An amateur mycologist of the village recently informed you that he had some new supplies that may interest you. Deciding to take him up on the offer, you come to the conclusion after a brief meeting that he was right. You take home a fine new pouch of soil and he takes some of your hard-earned coin. Your tasks behind you, you and your daughter return home, each due a nice bath and a simple dinner. Interesting. One day you find your daughter has left her pot and now hops around in your room with determination. The creature jumps about with ease, with clear intent now visible on her face. Her demeanour seems active and brazen, often finding herself engaged in troublesome play. Encourage her boldness, spend her nurturing her environment. Let's do this one. You decide that now is the best time to promote her growth, spending extra effort improving her living conditions. Your daughter seems to appreciate the attention and emotes cheerfully. Decision being made, life continued. One evening you hear a light knocking at the door. It's the witch. Speak to her about your daughter's health. Yeah, this is a new option. You invite the witch in, shooing your daughter away. The two of you sit together, partaking in light conversation. The witch inquires about the health of your daughter, expressing concern. She leaves you with a small vial of red serum. For good health, afterwards, she takes her leave. You take the vial to your daughter, and after drinking the serum, she does look a bit healthier. Decision being made, life continued. While sitting at home one day, you hear an unexpected knock at the door. Unfortunately... Oh, okay, it's the guy that we murdered last time. Killed... How much money have I got? I can't check. Oh, I've got 4 money. Right. Do we go into business with him, or do we pay him to go away? I'll leave this one up to chat. I've already killed him before. It's either going to be go into business or try and pay him off. Put in your vote now. Bribe him. Okay. You've known this man long enough to understand that he truly desires money. Perhaps if you offered him some, he would agree to leave you alone. When you explain this line of thought, his eyes sparkle. You've always known me so well. Quickly gather an amount of gold that you hope will satisfy him, then place the pouch in his hand. It's been a pleasure doing business with you. As he leaves, you tell him to never return. Alright. Oh, she's shy. One morning, you notice that your daughter's nowhere to be seen. She's perfectly still in a stand of trees. To your surprise, the creature has now taken the form of a young girl. Continue to carefully watch your surroundings. Watch her quietly. Let's watch her quietly. You do wonder why she's You do wonder why your daughter has such silent intensity, but you decide not to disturb her. Taking a seat near her, you appreciate the beauty of the forest and spend time thinking lovingly of your daughter. After some uneasy minutes, she simply turns and walks in the direction of home, seemingly finished with her quiet watching. Decision being made, life continued. You've been irresponsible with your funds. One more necessary expense and you won't have enough food to survive. You loathe to interact with others, but you may have to find some work in town. You swallow your pride and head to the village and do manual labour. It's demeaning work, but the fruits of your labour will ensure your daughter will survive another day. Life continues. A flock of hungry birds have been harassing both your crops and your daughter recently. Become quite the nuisance. Use some food to feed the birds for your daughter. Ignore. Okay, yeah, let's feed them. Feeding the birds comes to an unfortunate blow to your stores, but the cheerful smiles of your daughter feeds the birds is a magical moment of pride for you. Nothing more can be done to the birds, the matter was laid to rest. One night you find yourself struggling to sleep, your mind wanders. Never stop being strange, but you're always thankful for the company. New beginning. Yeah, we've got a loving parent. Let's see what we've got here. Oh, that's a... That's a hat. A popular mushroom adored by gourmands and casual enjoyers. Yep, that's a hat. Definitely a hat, not a brain. You notice a dishevelled woman slumped mournfully against the base of a tree. She bears numerous scratches and light wounds, as well as peculiarly coal-black lips. Her clothes are torn and dirty, but despite this you can tell they were once quite expensive. Curiosity piqued, you approach the woman, asking if she needs help with something. The woman grimaces, shaking her head. Nothing can be done for me, I've been sentenced to death. As she speaks, you notice her tongue is stained, as if she had been licking ink. You cannot but feel intrigued, so you insist. What does she mean? A few weeks ago I was walking through these woods when I witnessed the most beautiful woman I had ever known, picking flowers alone. I'm ashamed to say I was so taken by her stunning looks that I followed the woman, aiming to at least ask her name. I discovered far too late, however, that it was no woman, but the Witch of the Woods herself. Your eyes widen. Few humans would even speak of the witch. To follow her into the forest is regarded as, well, a death sentence. I know not if it was a punishment or fulfillment of my unspoken request, but upon my approach she twisted around and met me with a terrifyingly intense kiss. When I came around again, I bore a terrible curse. She visibly trembles, pulling at the tattered ends of her elegant dress. Solid cobbles seem to shift under my feet, and steady tools writhe like snakes in my grasp, conspiring to be dropped. I have been doomed to fail at all things. I have lost my work, my coin, and cannot even prepare food or forage without injuring myself. It has reached the point where I can do nothing but sit here and wait. She trails off, pursing her blackened lips. Again the doomed lady falls against the tree, staring blankly. It's apparent that she was utterly lost her will to go on. A cursed kiss from the Witch of the Woods. How unexpected. Ask her to give the curse to you with a kiss. Decline and interfering, tell her to pursue a romance with the witch. Yeah, you can give me the curse. You consider the woman carefully before demurely suggesting she try cursing you in turn. As she processes the suggestion, her cheeks redden with realization. You'd really do that for me? The woman's particular weakness that landed her in this situation is apparent as she averts her gaze. Admittedly, your primary interest is in the kiss. You could consider this a sort of bargain of your own, you nod. Please don't fail. Okay. Please don't fail on a kiss roll, that's embarrassing. The two of you share an impassive kiss, merely touching lips together for a moment. You close your eyes and concentrate on that intangible ailment inside her, the curse. A fuzzy and indistinct object, a tiny black moth caught between two panes of discoloured glass. With concerted effort, you can just barely grasp it. And as you part, it comes away with you. You open your eyes to see the lady wearing a shocked expression, the stain gone from her lips. It really worked! She can't help but shout in joy. I cannot begin to thank you enough. You tenderly touch your lips. You can't see it, but her reaction tells you that you now bear the mark of her curse. Something uneasy squirms in your gut. The formerly doomed woman thanks you profusely and offers the rest of her savings as compensation. A small pouch of coins. What was that? Doomed. Life rarely works out in your favour. Cool. Now free of her curse and eager to have some renewed control in her life, she leaves the woods. You can only hope you fare better than she did with your new burden. While taking a stroll down the centre of town, you catch the eye of curious children. A big mushy. That's pretty rude. Offer the kids some home... Wait, what happens when I press Doom? Offer the kids some homemade dried mushroom treats. Go over and see if you would like to play. How rude. What happens? Offer the kids some homemade... I don't know what I just did. You once heard the mushrooms You once heard... I have no idea what's going on. You had once heard that humans sometimes eat mushrooms, which led you to inventing a new treat of your very own. You carried them with you for occasions like this. You've seen some of the local shops hand out goodies before, so you're sure no one would get mad at you for doing it too. You happily hand out little mushroom treats to the children and watch as they eat. When you're just about to leave, one of the kids starts to feel ill, then another, then another. Realising it has to be because of the treats, you begin to panic. Before you have a chance to think, your body reacts. You rush out of town, finding yourself back at your home in a flash. The night you lay in bed, sleeplessly thinking about the sick children. Doom! All caps when you spell the man's name. Later, words spread about the mushroom girl that poisoned the poor town children. People are wary of you. Right, hold on, what was that? Culinary liar. You happen to look just like a mushroom that people love to eat. Young adult. Nope. Right, doomed. Life doesn't work in your favour. Doom card. You've met with a terrible fate, haven't you? Alright, Majora's Mask. You leave your home in the later hours of the morning, only to sit up on a strange woman not far from your house. It's immediately apparent that she doesn't notice you. Okay, so it's Celia again. I want to be a dick and pass on the curse to somebody else. She's going to give me the bell. Trees are changing in colour. Fall's arrived. Take a swim. Sit at the dock. You're more curious of how fishing works. Let's take a swim. At first, you enjoyed wading through the cool water, but soon find the activity a bit more taxing than you thought. You start struggling and nearly drown, but manage to barely make it back to shore. After coughing up some water, you head home, damp and ashamed. The sun is low in the sky. Fruit trees. Okay, it's the lady again. Sing along. Let's sing along. Close your eyes, absently singing with the flute. You're not very good at it, even within the dream, but it feels nice anyways. Eventually, before you know it, your eyes are opening. You should head home. The mountains bordering the northern reaches the forest call to you. You see that every day there is an overwhelming desire to climb that simply can't be ignored. Readying yourselves in the early hours of the morning, you glance over the materials you have on hand. Pack light, pack heavy. Don't pack, in fact, just don't go. Pack heavy. I'm doomed to fail, so... Stuff to the brim you pack makes seems difficult to move, so difficult that your legs buckle under your first step and you fall over. With your pack all set, you make your way to the mountain. After a couple hours of climbing, you feel like you've made some decent progress, though you're starting to get a bit tired. Just as you think it's time for a break, you come across a beautiful mountain spring, complete with its own waterfall. Take a shower, train your endurance. Let's take a shower. Why do I need to roll to... This is not Cyberpunk Red where I'm rolling wardrobe in style. The waterfall's frigid embrace leaves your skin numb and joints stiff. You take a moment to rest in the sun to warm yourself, but end up falling asleep. At least you're not sweaty anymore. You wake up in the mountain forest that night. Spend the night. The dark can't stop you. Continue climbing. The moon is full, and you decide that you feel fully rested after your little nap. In the moonlight, you carefully make your way up the path. The faint glow of the moon grants everything a pallid shine. Until you realise something. Some of the light is not coming from the sky. Glancing at the base of the tree, you spot small plants glowing happily in the night. Enjoy the light for a moment. Eat one. Being cautious may help with longevity, but it can never help with curiosity. Before you can overthink it, you pull a fern tip and toss it down the hatch. Thankfully, the plant seems mild in flavour. It could be poisonous, you suppose, but that was a problem for tomorrow you. Is what you would have thought had you not immediately passed out upon ingestion. Okay. You wake up in the morning feeling different. When you look at your hands, you notice something about you has shifted. Is there anything different in here? I'm glowing. You have become very reliable, Nightlight. You suspect you won't ever have to wander in the dark again, or more specifically, the logistics of that will now be more complex. You finally make your way home, wondering if your new glow will be permanent. A chilling... That's stealth out the window. Well, I'm already doomed, so I was probably rolling low anyway. A chilling breeze greets you one morning, heralding the approach of winter. The end of the year approaches and you find yourself considering your aspirations. You want to accomplish something significant, you decide. Pursue a great aspiration. There's something you wanted to accomplish, actually. You need some great achievement to end the year in a high point. Keep a conscious eye out for Cupid. Yeah, sure. Remember back to the curious scholar who was outside your house before. She gave you a handbell as a means to summon her should you locate the illustrious Cupid. Of course, he could be anywhere, show up anytime. You'll just have to stay vigilant. A group of 3 armed men stop you while you're out, demanding goods you may have or else. Well, I can't make a run for it. I don't want to fight them either. Cool. My mycelium is really low, so I'm going to have to risk running. The men weren't expecting such a speedy, well-camouflaged mushroom. You quickly lose them once you turn and sprint away. Close call. The night sky is clear and beautiful as you sit on a stump atop a small hill. Let's make a wish. Wish for the people of the kingdom to live peaceful lives. Wish to grow stronger. Wish for it to rain tomorrow. Sure. Oh, so, yeah. Doom. Seems your wish has upset someone because the next day is a scorcher. There's a knock at your door. It's the same thing about the kids again. I mean, why not? It's my favorite color. Glow. Is it true that all you have to eat are sticks and stones? No, I eat children. That your diet is much more well-rounded, with more significant showing of fine nutritious starts and substrates. Sticks are only sometimes snacks, and rocks are not a pleasant texture. One girl sitting near them seems to be curiously eyeing a tasty-looking tree outside. Perhaps you're a trendsetter. Okay, same text as before. It goes in for a hug. It's winter, so things are going to, I think, wrap up soon. Songs like the pose of the tree and the gentle patter of rain composes across the land. There's a small, crisp, rotten leaves, pungent but sweet. There's a playful kiss of winter and wind across your cheek. And that... Wait, what's that? Is that a baby hurling expletives and is wearing a leather jacket? He doesn't look like what you assume Cupid would look like. Is his hair greased back? But it has to be him. You cup your hands and around your mouth and shout, "Hey, are you Cupid?" The heavyset baby gently lowers down at tie level, peering out over a pair of heavy shades. "Hey, yo, pretty mush, babe. How's the biz?" "Yeah, you're right. I'm Cupid, the one and only." And that solves that. Retrieving your handbill, you give it a slight ring. The sound reverberates to the streets, the trees bouncing around until... Hey, yes, that was fast. Celia, the scholar, stands beside you, enamored at the sight of the legendary Cupid. "Alright, cool cats," Cupid says. "What can I do for the two of yous? Need a little spark? Losing the passion, eh?" You're not entirely sure what he's getting at, but sure enough, it's making Celia absolutely red. "Why, nothing of the sort," Celia stammers. "In fact, we were looking to assist you." "You are?" Cupid looks at the two of you with a raised eyebrow. "You are? Well, rock and roll, baby. Let me go grab my red and the two of yous can help me with my quota." In a flash, Cupid's gone, but you're safe in your assumption that he'll be right back. Turning to Celia, she has a pensive expression. "We're helping him with what exactly?" "His job, presumably," cocks her head, an absent finger stroking her chin. "Matchmaking. Making humans get to warm and fuzzies for each other." "The what?" "Warm and fuzzy? We're not setting them on fire, are we?" Celia flashes a smirk. "Don't be dense now. He's on his way back. See?" A scrawny finger points at the sky. And high in the sky, a three-wheeled beast of metal cruises by. With a dip it cuts low, pulling up beside you from behind. "Alright, ladies, hop in," the chubby little grease baby says, with a complimentary double finger gun. You grab one of the seats in a side compartment in the vehicle, with Celia popping in next to you. With her so close, it feels oddly warm. And maybe a little fuzzy. "Alright," Cupid calls out the vehicle, lifts back up into the air. "Name of the game is Matchmaker. You twos are my spotters. We're going to go around and spread the power of love in this cold and dreary place." First off, the village. After some time, you arrive above the village, just outside the walls. Nearby, a long, abandoned castle sits atop the precipice. Inside your town walls, people appear tiny and aware of your presence. "Alright," Cupid says. "Now here's the dealio." From a compartment, pulls out a box of chocolates. "These here are our ammunition. Real groovy way to fall in love, you dig?" He hands over the box. "I'm not sure what your vibe is, mushmam, but you have to look to have the magic in your mojo. Do me a favour and add a little of your razzle dazzle to the goods while I prep the rest." As Cupid begins to retrieve his bow and arrow halves, you look down at the like heart-shaped chocolates, considering your options. Beside you, Celia sits expectantly, an inquisitive brow raised at the possibilities. Say something sappy into them. You think to yourself for a bit and then look over at Celia. The scholar staring at you intently, waiting to see what you do. Surprisingly a bit shy, you lean down toward the box and whisper a few words. Handing the box of chocolates back, Cupid looks over the contents. "Oh my, so subtle, and yet you can feel the love." "Oh, these'll work perfectly, thank you. Let's try them out, shall we?" Alright, let's start with... that one over there. Cupid inhales deliberately along through his nose. They smell... and satisfied, unmoved, unloved. They seek adventure, companionship, someone to share good times and bad with. "Well, here we go. You two are my spotters. Let's go." What does he mean by... Wing! When the village streets the down on their luck, Jesse Jankies walks the cobbles listlessly. Another day, another doldrum. The world never seems to progress for old Jankies. Bossman's always angry and the coin purse is always empty. Jesse passes by a clothier in town, stops for a spell to glance at the fabrics. They're beautiful, and maybe one day Jesse could don those lustrous garments, but not today. Jankies turns around and proceeds to put one foot in front of the other. It's really the best they knew how to do. And as they resume their trek back home, fling! An arrow embeds right into Jesse's shoulder. Jesse, stunned, stops and looks at it, chocolatey goodness oozing from the wound. Help! Alright, got him. Now spotters, now I need you to find me a good schmuck, pronto. Another one? You turn to Celia, expecting a confused glance in return. Instead, she's hastily scrawling in her notes. Did you just shoot that person? Another one. Indeed I did, my Portobello princess. And sometimes in the name of love, you have to crack a few eggs. That doesn't seem like the proper use of the saying. Then again, they're one of the weapons, so you just chuckle and get to spawning. After being handed a pair of powerful lenses, you're able to make out some detail of the passerbys below. There seems to be one person among several onlookers who's watching the poor souled person with great interest. There's another who glances over, shrugs, and keeps on going. Just another day, eh, pal? The clothier stands behind the glass of their shop, looking worried as they touch up their latest piece. And of course, there's always the victim themselves. The trick only needs to involve 2 arrows. Turning back to Cupid, you give him your answer. The onlooker, the nonplussed person, the clothier. The poor sod themselves, Cupid asks. Bit sadistic, and yet, with precision, Cupid fires the arrow. The arrow flies true, embedding square in the Janki's thigh, and Janky stops for a moment to realise perhaps one doesn't always need another's love to attain happiness. Perhaps one can't rely on another to fill that hole, and to do so would be cruel. One must learn to love themselves before they thrust that burden on another. And Janky thinks, maybe it's time to learn to love oneself. They walk off down the cobbles, contemplating. That worked out great. Cupid looks over with a wide smile. You're a good spotter. Well, let's keep on going. Can't stick around too long in one place, you know? And without delay, Cupid's ride takes off west. Travelling west, the day is growing long in the tooth. You look over at Kalia, who has put the pen down momentarily to study you. When she realises you caught her staring, she looks away, bright red. Am I still doomed? I'm still doomed. The ride is comfortable despite the frigid breeze. You feel warm in the snug sidecar. Cupid keeps talking about which and whatever, but it's hard to focus on him, if only because he never shuts up. Oh, I think I see someone way over there in the field. Do you see them? You have no idea what he's talking about. Where is there... Oh! And off you go. Glance back over, Celia's notes are becoming comprehensive. It's a shame you can't make heads or tails of it. A lot of stuff there, though. Curious? Celia asks. It's pretty dense scientific jargon. You decide it's best not to pry, though her intelligence can't help but spark something. Even if you couldn't understand it, maybe listening to her prattle on would be nice. Here we are, Cupid says, positioning himself above the main highway. See these folks down there? Grabbing the lens, you do in fact see a group of people huddled around a fresh-built campfire. Alright, and a 1 and a 2. A 1, 2, 3, 4, and then goes the arrow. Bing! Here we go. Down below, around a modest fire, sits a dear group of friends. And the suave, fashionable Alex the Dude Brohamson is just one among them. Unfortunately for her, she's Cupid's lucky chosen. Wing! The arrow sits square in the dude's chest, and when she looks down to inspect the damage, all she can muster is, huh, bummer, dude. Meanwhile, in the rest of the circle... Well, Cupid says, you're up, spotter, who's the lucky one? Honestly, there's a handful of folks down there. There's someone who's sitting especially close and seems more attentive and proactive than the rest, but they're all trying their hardest, it seems. There's also, well, the fire. Shoot Little Miss Dreamy Eyes. Shoot the fire. Go nuts, shoot them all. Yeah, let's make this a polycule. I like your thinking. Alright. With disturbing speed, Cupid lets loose a torrent of arrows, raining down his lovely chocolates on the poor group. It would be beautiful to see if it wasn't so frightening. And there comes a brief silence before the group realises something important. They were all hit by arrows. They saw it happen, and the group finds an honesty in each other's eyes. A friendship ready to lay it all on the line to help each other. A friendship greater than any love. But love, nevertheless. Wow, we're on a roll. Let's go. You're born natural, this absolutely groovy baby. Well, we should get going. There's one more stop in the night. Cupid gets the ride going and begins once more. At this point, the day is sloughed off to evening. Looking over at Celia, there's a distinguished tiredness to her eyes. She's been working all day and a great smile has shown itself on her face. It's rather beautiful. This time she catches you, and when you look away, you're almost certain your mushy cheeks have grown red. Hey Belle, can I ask a question? You look over, a little surprised at the forwardness. It's just, when I first met you, I thought you were quite interesting, but now you seem much more elevated. You beam at the recognition and give due credit to the fact that you've leveled up. Right, of course, you have. You're something else, you know that? The air is getting colder with nightfall, only getting worse as you pass through a snowy patch of forest. Though even with the cold, you've never felt warmer. Next to her. Here we are, Cupid says at length. You awake with a start, never realising you had fallen asleep to begin with. As it turns out, Celia awakes in a similar manner, and you find yourselves leaning against each other. It's almost a shame to wake up. Last one's down there, tired old sort. Long removed from society, does he even remember the warmth of love? You grab the lenses, curious, and look towards where Cupid directs. It's difficult in the dark, but you locate them at length. It's an elderly man sitting on a stump. All the love in his life has been snuffed out long ago. The poor soul has no direction left with which to steer his heart. You feel a pang of pity for a second before turning back to Cupid. Fwing! You look back, the man is crumpled over, grasping his back and shoulder. He seems to be groaning on the forest floor. Ow. Old man Crumbeard lays on the forest floor, groaning intermittently. Oh, I knew they'd find me. You couldn't take me in the war, but you found me. The writing's really good. What a sad, lonely man. Cupid looked at, almost indignant. You really need some companionship, you know? Though if you could smell the history on him, you'd wonder if people like him deserved happiness at all. Still, I'm not judge, just executioner. So Spotter, what's the verdict? Glance over the surrounding area, but there isn't much there. A wolf is wandering around nearby, dangerously close. A rat is making a feast of an old man Crumbeard's food while he's distracted, and well, there's Crumbeard himself, you say. So? Right, do we shoot the rat or do we shoot the wolf? Wait, you know what? Shoot that sensual looking tree over there. Or do we shoot the tree? Go make love to that tree. Cupid flashes you a patronizing look. The tree? Reassure him that yes, very much the tree. Maybe I should have picked a better spotter, Cupid grumbles, before flawlessly sending an arrow into the selected tree. The arrow sits square in the knot of the tree. Remarkably, Crumbbeard is on his feet in record time. It seems as though a sudden clarity is dawning on him. There's no need for a love of any individual or commodity. The land is all around him and always has been and always will. If he can't love the land, then what in life is there worth living at all? Taking this revelation in stride, Crumbbeard walks off into the forest to discover all the beauty she has to give. Well, Lee seems happy. Good job. Well, I should get you home. It's going to get quite late, it seems. Oh hey, thanks for all this help, by the way. You are born natural at this. After some time, Cupid brings you back to your house. Both you and Celia climb out the sidecar and stretch your legs. Well, that truly was a night to remember. I should have you out on more rides. Cupid hops out of his seat, floating over. They don't go without giving old Cupid a hug. We and the Biz have to stick together. You go, very reluctantly, to give the Fae a hug. But to your relief, he's gone. Oh, what's the big idea? Focusing, you realise that Cupid is stuck in a jar, held firmly in Celia's hands. Come on, you nerdy note-taker, let me out. Oh, Cupid, Celia coos. Are you really so foolish that you didn't recognise me? In an errant patch of moonlight, Celia's skin begins to glitter and shines like wet opals. What? You're one of them weird aristocratic motherfuckers. Celia shakes the jar hard, disorienting Cupid into silence. That's right, and my aristocratic kin asked me to deal with a long-standing thorn in the garden. She holds the jar up, staring in the glass at a shrunken, trapped Cupid. Stuffing the jar in her bag, you can occasionally hear muffled cries of help from within. Sorry, Celia turning to you. I haven't fully been honest, and I've gotten you wrapped up in inter-fairy politics. I'm Fae, see, just like Cupid, but from, let's say, a rival family. Though most Fae have been calling for that little gremlin silencing for a while now. But don't feel bad. It's not like him being trapped and sealed away will stop folks from finding love. They'll just be finding less arrows where they'd rather not be. Anyways, I should reintroduce myself. Celia takes your hand in hers, giving her a gentle bow. I am Renewal, a scholar and undercover field agent for the great family of, well... She catches herself hand to mouth. A girl can't give up all her secrets on the first date now, can she? Celia, or you should say Renewal, leans down and gives you a peck on the cheek. This was a date? What can I say? Renewal slings her pack onto her shoulder, eliciting a small grunt from within. There's something in there. As she walks away, a hand jumps into the air and waves goodbye. Until next time. You smile, watching her depart. At length, you take one last look at the sky before going to bed. It really was a match made in the heavens. Ending. Matchmaker. I've become a paragon of love. Friend of birds. I glow. I'm doomed. But yeah, is Mushroom Musume. I feel like they might change the name. Honestly, like, I assume it's meant to be like a play on Monster Musume and Uma Musume, but like, unless you know Musume means like daughter, like, I think it's a funny name, but I don't think it's a name that they should stick with if they want to sell it, but that's my opinion. Anyway, I think that'll do us for today. Thank you for everyone for joining. It's nice to be back. I'm just having a little nosy to see who is online. Oh, and thank you for the Pochita. But yeah, that was really fun. The demo is on Steam, and the demo is also on itch.io, I should probably mention as well.